Welcome to part 12 of What If Kami Sends Naruto Back in Time to Fix His Mistakes. Please remember to like and subscribe as it motivates me to upload more in the future, and as always, link to the fanfiction is in the description. Rumble in the Mountains. The rest of the time in Kumogakure was spent training, performing sealing jobs and constructing the first teleportation tower. Naruto summoned Overdord, Mert and Kajin to help him with the design and construction. The things the three dwarf brothers could do with metal was absolutely amazing, and chakra metal was no exception to that rule. Once the people of Kumo got used to seeing three dwarves accompanying the Senjus, they accepted them without issue. It was the same story for the Kijin. Naruto introduced Team Yugito to the Kijin, which included Hikuro, and it didn't take long for the Kenjutsu instructor to test their skills. Soon, it became a test of all Kenjutsu practitioners in Kumo, and Hikuro put them all to the task. Hikuro's skill, All-Seeing Eye, lets him slow down time quite a bit. It was like a supped-up Sharingan in that regard. That, combined with flawless Kenjutsu skills, made Hikuro the fiercest sword wielder in Kumo. I was impressed by the Kijin, and it was in more ways than one. When Shion decided to join training one day, I was knocked unconscious by a right hook from Mabui because he was ogling Shion's massive rack. He wasn't the only one, but he was the only one that got caught doing it. I spent most of his time with the Senju family, and he really enjoyed their company, especially since Samui was to be wed to Naruto alongside Temari and Ino at the end of the training trip. That being said, Samui was indeed pregnant, and Naruto was made to pay the piper for his offenses to Kami. The genjutsu he went through was absolutely terrifying to him, and he developed a newfound respect for the females of the world. He also felt a rift emerge between himself and Kami for the first time. Flashback, 2 weeks after sleeping with Samui. Tsunade got her divine inspiration from Kami for the jutsu, and she was wearing a devilish smirk as she walked into the medical bay that Naruto was in. Somehow, when Naruto transformed into his female form, which was strangely attractive despite its resemblance to Hikari, he transformed into a pregnant woman. Tsunade giggled at the evil prank of Kami, and she couldn't wait to see Naruto go through what she actually considered a just punishment. Tsunade walked into the medical room and saw that Naruto was waiting there while cuffed to the bed. He had tried to escape multiple times, but it didn't work, and he was unable to transform back into his male form. Kami's justice is absolute, after all. Tsunade saw Naruto beginning to sweat through the hospital gown, and she walked forward while weaving through hand signs. "Take this like a man, Ruto. Once this is over, we will be square," Tsunade said with a menacing humor and a tyrannical grin on her face. She then placed 2 hands on Naruto's temples and the illusion began. All the males of the training group shrunk back from Tsunade's crazed look despite watching on in morbid fascination. Naruto was squirming uncontrollably, and his body seemed to be pained. Samui was watching with her hands over her mouth, and she was near tears since she felt like this was her fault. Naruto turned his head to the side and threw up into a bucket that was prepared. Everyone heard him groaning about morning sickness, which earned a giggle out of Ino. "That was the worst part for me. I puked almost every morning for the first few months," she informed the group. "Holy crap. Kami is a sadistic bitch for making women go through this," Yami said in morbid fascination. He cringed at the angry ethereal growl that echoed around the room. Temari was clutching Ino's hand. "Is it really that bad?" Ino kissed Temari's forehead. "Yes and no. In the end, it is worth it." "Well, for me it was, but I guess that's not so much the case for Ruto." Temari looked down at the baby in her arms, and that reaffirmed her words. She had asked Naruto to go back to Wave and bring their son after things started going crazy and Samui was pregnant. Hashi was the only thing she could think of, and Naruto didn't want her to fall into postpartum depression, so he brought Hashi back after doing some work on the teleportation tower in Wave. Temari cooed at Hashi and started to put her pinky near the side of his mouth, which made the baby shift and latch onto the tip of Temari's finger. "The Akatsuki need to hurry up and die so I can have one of my own," she said with a fond longing on her face. "Yeah, oh my," Rias shrieked. Naruto was writhing around in discomfort and clutching his swollen belly. "This seems kind of harsh." Hikari asked the question on everyone's mind, what is even inside of Naruto anyway? "A clone," Tsunade answered for the group. "A wood clone. And his body is going through all of the bells and whistles." Everyone cringed at that. Wasn't Kami taking this a little too far? A genjutsu is one thing, but an actual pregnancy. That is just brutal. Another scream tore itself from Naruto's throat and Tsunade announced that his contractions had started. Feeling 9 months worth of shit in 15 minutes is a real bitch move by Kami. Even the goddess was feeling a little sullen for what she is subjecting her chosen to. Kushina was stuck somewhere between tears and a grimace as she watched her son suffer. Kami-sama, this, it isn't fun. It doesn't seem right. Kami remained with pursed lips as she watched Naruto go through the punishment. She may have agreed with Kushina, but she was a goddess, and she can't go back on her word. He will be alright, Kushina. Minato had stopped watching. It was a nightmare for every male, and it was even worse for him watching his son go through it. He was trying to keep his mind clear so that Kami couldn't feel his disgust and slight bit of resentment for this. Naruto only gave into love. He loved a good girl, and it was genuine and not sexual. Did he really deserve such a gruesome punishment? Oh, relax and quit pouting, Minato. You two are spoiling my entertainment. Kami said in a condescending tone. Why was watching this having such an effect on her? Why does she care so much about a human child? Why was she so vindictive when he accepted the love of another woman? Jealous. No, it couldn't be that, could it? As Kami was reflecting, Naruto was going through the pain of the crowning process and all males had dismissed themselves from the room. It was gruesome, terrifying and definitely not as entertaining as they were hoping for. They decided to wait in the waiting room, and they were having their own conversation. No way, ain't no way I could go through that. Yami said defiantly. He resonated pretty sharply with Naruto's pain and discomfort. Turns out, his negative emotion sensing was not affected by his true separation from Naruto. Kurama was nodding along. Yeah, that was brutal. I was starting to think that Kami was just a fun-loving, whimsical lady, but now I am terrified of her. Yosuke was nodding along. Yes, I would rather fight an endless battle than go through that. It did make me appreciate Himawari more though. Gaara was trying to regain his stoic composure. I agree with you all. Speaking of Himawari, when are you planning on going back to Wave, Suke? When the blood clone transfer is complete. Wooded bodies and transformations are great, but Naruto and Tsunade agree that we would now be better off in blood clones. Kokuo had left Temari's seal and joined the guys. I thought you guys couldn't go into the blood clones. Yosuke shrugged. I don't know the specifics. Ruto and Tsunade figured something out and they said we should be able to transfer over soon. What is important is that we will be able to use Sage Mode and that will replenish our chakra supply. Can't you do that now? Gaara asked. Yeah, we can, at least partially. We are in wood clones though. The blood clone creates a complete rendition of the body. Yosuke answered before a blood-curdling scream ripped through the hallway. A girly voice could be heard through an open door. Kami, I hate you. The guys winced in unison. Rip Ruto, rip, Yami said softly. Back in the room, a wood clone of baby Naruto was pushed out and Naruto was panting and bleeding everywhere. Tsunade was holding the wood clone with interest, and she had a smile on her face. Naruto was freed from his shackles by Samui, and the girls watched Naruto enter Sage Mode in his female form. He kept his eyes closed and the wounds started healing before he transformed back into his male form. I hope you got your pound of flesh, mama. I am going home, Naruto said in a flat and tired voice before he disappeared in a green flash without another word. Tsunade started feeling guilty for the pleasure she took from this experience. True, she had been vindictive, and she took a small measure of amusement out of the situation, but it wasn't worth it. The kid always followed his heart and did the right thing. That was a pretty brutal experience. Even just watching it she knew that it was more intense for him than she could understand. At least a mother had a prize at the end of the tunnel, but that was just a punishment. Kami was experiencing a similar feeling as she watched the conclusion of the event that was supposed to be funny. She thought Naruto would make a joke of it and have fun being able to understand his girls better, but that was clearly not the case. Maybe the whole genjutsu of experiencing 9 months of pregnancy in 15 minutes took it a little too far. Yeah, okay, Kami could admit that. Kami's realm was silent, nobody wanted to say anything, and it made the goddess sigh. Kushi and Minato, I am sorry. I may have taken that too far. She got silence in return for her words and saw both of her chosen's parents focusing on paperwork. Why do I actually care what they think? What is happening to me? Kami thought. End of flashback. Naruto disappeared back to the sage's temple for a week to recenter himself after that experience. Naruto was meditating in the sage's gardens, and he was trying to resynchronize himself after that painful experience. It was far worse than he had imagined, and he was really starting to resent the fact that he went through that because he followed his heart. Not only that, but Kami disabled the safeguards he took, and now another of his children would be put at risk. During his meditation, Kami pulled his mind to her realm and had a talk with him. Naruto saw her sitting behind her desk and he bowed and greeted her respectfully. Unfortunately, it felt forced, and he knew even Kami could detect it. That prompted the goddess to address him. Naruto, I apologize for letting what was supposed to be a light-hearted punishment get taken a little too far. She began. Naruto shrugged indifferently. If you wish to make a mockery of the miracle of childbirth, that is your right, Kami-sama. Kami winced at the indifference in his tone and the harsh bite of truth in his words. Naruto. Forgive me, Kami-sama, but I do not need your apology. You issued your punishment, and I took it. That concludes our business, and I am free to enjoy Samui's company. I do wish you wouldn't punish those I love for my selfish actions in the future. Naruto didn't care that she was a goddess, he needed to get this off his chest. The spanking was fine, and it was a fitting punishment. He just couldn't get over the fact that Kami dragged Samui into the equation. Kami winced again at his words and emotions. What will it take to make this right, Ruto? Naruto sighed, he knew he needed to come to peace with this. He took a deep breath and looked Kami in the eyes for the first time since he arrived. I don't know. Forgive me, Kami-sama. I was meditating to try and sort everything out. Kami sighed, what if I gave you a gift to make amends? Naruto shrugged once more. What if you can have your parents back for say, oh, I can give them a week vacation. Naruto's azure eyes lit up and sparkled. You would do that? Kami smiled, seeing that she broke through. For you, Ruto, I would allow it. When Naruto returned to the compound, he had made peace with the experience and he started acting like his usual, cheery self. Kami apologized to him during his meditation, and she made him an offer that he couldn't refuse. He would have his parents back for a whole week, and that alone made the terrible experience worth it. Naruto requested that week be during his wedding, and Kami agreed to that request, which put Naruto right back on Cloud 9. Of course, there was another hashing out that needed to happen, but it would take nearly a week for Tsunade to apologize to Naruto. For a sage that can feel what others are feeling, it truly bothered Naruto how much his mama enjoyed his punishment. That whole experience was a nightmare for him, and he had to stomach that on top of Tsunade's sadistic pleasure. It caused a rift between the two, and while Naruto forgave her, it would take some time for things to get back to the way they were. That brings this story to the capstone event of the time in Kumo. An all-out spar between the fourth Raikage of Kumo, and Naruto Senju Uzumaki. What started as an agreement for a respectable and friendly spar got blown out of proportion when news spread to the local population. Then scheduled the spar in Kumo's stadium, but Naruto convinced him to change venues because he wouldn't be able to go all out in the stadium. Being the battle-crazed and recently battle-starved Raikage that he was, agreed to shift the spar to B's training grounds. As if that wasn't enough, the people of Kumo began moaning and groaning about not being able to sit down and watch the fight, which meant that Naruto grew bleachers for the people to view the fight in the mountains around the training area. That led to word getting out to Kinji, Reiji the Lightning Daimyo, Itachi, and a couple other people. What was once a friendly and good-willed spar suddenly became a pride match between Kumo and the Senju heir. Can you believe this, Q? It is like they have never seen a real fight before. Naruto said as he looked around the mountains at the thousands of people in the stands or just sitting on random ledges around the area. Kurama chuckled within the seal. Yes, it is quite impressive. Not to burst your bubble, bud, but most people will never witness a fight of this level in their lives. Naruto shrugged mid-stretch. I guess so. It just seems like I am always wrapped up in them. Kurama let out a full-bellied laugh. Yeah. It does seem that way, doesn't it? Alright, I am going to focus for a bit and see if I can sense any of the Akatsuki. Help me with that. Naruto thought through the link as he closed his eyes. Sure thing, Ruto. Up in the VIP bleachers, the whole Senju family was present, minus the babies. They would never needlessly expose them to the public like that. At least not until they were ready to defend themselves. In the bleachers, Tsunade was missing Kurama, and she was worrying about the fight. Even if Naruto won, it may create international backlash at this point because it would mean that he beat a Kage of a foreign village. A Kage that was known for his pride and speed. Relax, mama. Just enjoy the fight. You have fought Ruto hundreds of times. This is just another fight. Rias said as she put a calming hand on Tsunade's. She had noticed how strained Tsunade had been since the whole fake birth incident, and it was mostly one-sided guilt at this point. I am calm, Rias. When Ruto and I fought, it was to make each other better and have fun. This fight has a lot more riding on it than two men just having a friendly spar. Tsunade replied. Enko scoffed, yeah, because these people made it that way. It is a pride match now. Yosuke joined in as the conversation had pulled his attention away from Himawari. Yes, this is now a match about warriors' pride. Do not worry, mama, Naruto is good at winning in a way that lets people save face. I hope you were right, Yosuke. Back on the field, Ruto confirmed, all was clear, with Kurama, and he purged the Senjutsu chakra from his system. He didn't want to start the fight in Sage mode. It is likely I wouldn't be prepared for that level of a fight right off the bat, and Naruto knew what he had to do. This was now a performance of fists for the audience. Plus, Naruto really wanted to enjoy this fight. Just dodging the Raikage's fastest punch last time around wasn't really an accomplishment to Naruto. You all loosened up, old man? Naruto asked playfully. I growled back playfully. He had grown to like the kid a lot during his stay in Kumo. Sure thing, Ruto. I know you have a destructive arsenal, but please make sure not to endanger our audience. Naruto laughed. Don't worry, Lord Raikage, I will keep it under control. I never asked, are you a weapons user? And why should I tell you that? I shot back with a cocked eyebrow. Naruto shrugged. I just wanted to know if Benihime or Dragon's Roar were going to get a shot at you. I have really come to enjoy Kenjutsu, and I have never seen you with a sword. I laughed at that. My body is my weapon, Ruto. My fist can tear into an opponent just as easy as any blade. Naruto chuckled at that. Yeah, well, I guess that's true. Alrighty then, no proctor. Just us and our fists. No killing blows. I nodded. Yes, I don't want to think what Samui, or your mother would do to me if the worst happened. Naruto nodded, and I could never make Mabui cry. I am glad you took my advice on that one. Not now, Ruto, now is time to fight. All seals off. With a final nod, Ruto disabled his resistance seals and pulled a coin from his pouch. He positioned it on his thumb, took a ready stance, got a nod from Ai and flipped it into the air. The coin spun wildly through the air and made a soft clink sound. By the time the sound reached either of the two's original position, they were already blurs of motion. The fastest man alive was now fully engaged in the fight against the prodigious son of his rival. The fight started in a clash of fists and legs that were far too easy for each man to track. Fist parried with open palms, shins blocking sidekicks, elbows clashing against forearm, and knees blocked by any form of guard. To the crowd, the intricate, high-speed dance of death was beautiful and majestic. To the Kumo shinobi, this was the appetizer. To the Senju family, this wasn't even the prologue. After 5 minutes of warming up, I shot a smirk over at Naruto and cracked his neck. Good so far, shall we take it up a notch? Naruto merely nodded before he weaved through hand signs and enveloped himself in his wood-style, light armor, jutsu, and then he formed his greaves and gauntlets out of the wood chakra. I whistle in appreciation as he equipped a pair of chakra steel knuckles and dropped the golden wrist bracers. He made a show of putting on a pair of forearm guards that glistened with the same golden color as his bracers. It has been a long time since I took these puppies out of the closet. Naruto addressed the jibe with a raised eyebrow. The last time I took these out was when I fought your old man. Naruto whistled. Yeah, that was what? 100 years ago. Damn, you're a geezer. I belted out a laugh. Alright, brat. Stage 2. Let's go. This time, I encompassed himself in his lightning armor, level 1 foot, which increased his speed and response time. It also made each impact feel electric, and each block that hit an area devoid of wood armor slightly numbed Naruto's arms. Naruto realized that Ai's increase in speed basically mandated that he take in at least a little senjutsu chakra, and he could do that as easily as breathing. A forest green dusting appeared around Naruto's eyes and his eyes flashed a powerful emerald color as Ai's fist connected with his X-guard and sent him flying back a couple meters. Naruto flipped mid-air and leapt into a series of back handsprings to dodge the lightning-covered kick. Naruto pushed off hard from the ground to get out of the straight punch that Ai had leveled at his face, and now Naruto was airborne. Ai smirked as he recovered his footing and jumped into the air like a bullet at Naruto. Naruto knew Ai would do this once he was airborne, so he used a chakra chain from the palm of his gauntlet to meet Ai in midair. Since the match was non-lethal, Naruto's chains were blunted at the tip and the blunted chain slammed into Ai's fist midair. The shockwave released sent dust flying, and Naruto used another chain to link with the ground and he pulled himself down and under the airborne Ai as a third chain wrapped around Ai's ankle and slammed him into the ground. Ai hopped up and brushed the imaginary dust off of the lightning coating his body. What followed was a blur of motion with clashes of electric blue a couple times per second. There were very few shinobi present that could keep up with the match, especially when they were positioned so far away. On the big screen televisions set up around the area, all the camera could capture were blurs of light and shockwaves of dirt, dust and chunks of earth whenever a bigger blow missed its target. Jiraiya leaned over the seat and addressed Tsunade. "The kid is keeping up pretty well." Tsunade scoffed. "Ruto is just greeting him. Look at that look on his face, he is enjoying every moment of this." "Yeah, but he is already in Sage mode and Ai isn't even into his full lightning armor." Jiraiya cautioned. "That's not his Sage mode. That is barely even level 1. Just wait until he gets the tree, that will be when he is serious." Tsunade answered while never taking her eyes off of the fight. "The tree? I never saw the tree when I was sparring against him." Jiraiya said, confused. "Because you rarely used your Sage mode with Ma and Pa. Mainly because he didn't want to see them. Trust me, Jiraiya, the kid is playing around and putting on a show right now." Tamari chimed in. "Mama's right. He won't use Kurama's chakra here, but as far as his Sage mode goes, Naruto is somewhere between 5 and 10% right now." Jiraiya zipped his lips and watched his grandson work. It was truly impressive how the kid was keeping up with the Raikage, and now that Jiraiya knew the whole truth, he truly lamented his earlier actions with Naruto. He also regretted how little he taught the kid last go around, and he didn't know how to feel about the Toads anymore. He loved Ma and Pa, but that memory of them dropping Naruto hurt Jiraiya's trust in them far more than they would ever know. After another 10 minutes of what the two would agree was an actual fight, I was forced to enter lightning armor, stage 3, because he was cornered by 5 earth and 5 water dragons at the same time, and that was the only way he was going to have enough speed and resilience to dodge Naruto's attack. The fierce, blue lightning chakra crackling off of Ai let everyone know that the fight had just escalated to the next level. Naruto saw this and he jumped high into the air, clapped his hands, closed his eyes and pulled on the life chakra from the people around the stadium, the chakra in the mountain air currents and the chakra found in the strength of the mountains. The energy answered his call eagerly, as if it wanted nothing more than to heed his call and join his play. The ice shadow around Naruto's eyes turned a dark forest green, his emerald orbs glowed with power and the tree of Yggdrasil made its appearance on his forehead. The real fight was on. Despite the benefits of Sage Mode Level 2, Naruto still found it difficult to keep up with the insane speed of the fourth Raikage. Naruto sensed every bit of excitement from the crowd as their leader entered his full lightning armor, and Naruto knew from previous experience that I could maintain that armor for extended periods of time. It was time to put it to the test and break out some of the flashier techniques he had. First, Naruto needed to slow Ai down, if even just a little bit. While nearly 100 feet in the air, Naruto saw Ai was waiting for him, and a devilish smirk plastered itself on his face as he formed 2 pistols with his hands. Over the left hand, a translucent, light blue glowing ball of condensed air appeared. Over his right hand, a globule of water the size of a basketball formed. What followed was a demonstration of Ai's speed and Naruto's accuracy as Naruto called out, "Wind-water combination, twin machine pistols." The hundreds of nearly invisible air bullets and water bullets tore into the ground of the training area and sent clouds of dust and chunks of earth flying. Each bullet tore nearly 5 feet into the ground and created a 10-foot wide crater. I saw and felt Naruto's increased power. His heightened synapses also saw Naruto's hands in a strange position and then his eyes went wide. I never struggled to dodge anything when he was encompassed in his full lightning armor, but he was struggling now. Each bullet was menacing, and clumps of earth were repeatedly disintegrated as the missed shots created craters and I was forced to dodge through the debris. Finally, he saw Naruto land and flip through hand signs and his jaw nearly dropped when the whole training ground turned into a swamp as Naruto placed both hands on the ground and called out, "Earth style, swamp of the underworld." Yes, I taught him that one. Jiraiya's cheer was heard throughout the mountains. I couldn't escape this technique and he couldn't believe the kid could literally encompass the whole fighting area in a single jutsu. If he stood still at all, he would sink into the swampy earth and he would really be in trouble. Good thing speed was his thing. I dashed toward Naruto in a crackle of lightning, and he barely jumped over the layer of wooden spikes that rose to greet him. Unfortunately, when one moves at the speeds I was moving, an impromptu jump means a flight of several hundred feet. I soared over Naruto, and he swore he saw the kid wink at him. I skidded to a halt in the muddy swamp, and he turned fully to face a truly terrifying sight. The muddy swamp had risen into a tidal wave nearly a kilometer wide and 100 feet tall and it was coming straight for I. Resigning himself to getting a little dirty, I blurred forward straight into and through the tidal wave of mud. It was thicker and harder to get through than he thought, but it was nothing his lightning armor couldn't disintegrate. As he cleared the muddy tidal wave, he opened his eyes to see Naruto flipping through hand seals for another jutsu. Rather than let Naruto get the jutsu off, I cranked his speed to 110% and launched a lightning lariat at Naruto. He was surprised when it impacted, and he felt sorry for the kid when he forced his arm down and into the ground. The ground shattered in a roar and created a crater nearly 100 feet in diameter. It was only decades of battle experience that allowed Ai's instinct to guide him out of the crater as his legs blurred into motion across the muddy terrain. When I skid to a halt and his brain caught up with his actions, he turned around and was met by a windstorm as a dome of what had to be wind chakra filled the whole crater he created and expanded an additional 150 feet in diameter upon it. I could tell that wind dome was truly fierce and would have likely shredded him, but that distraction cost him as a blunt force wind from Naruto using divine breakthrough slammed into Ai's chest. I felt the impact and sensed the lightning chakra encompassing his chest and torso fizzle out briefly as he was sent flying like a bullet into the far mountain. Naruto landed and took a moment to appreciate his work. He used the Rasenshuriken for old time's sake and to show off. It felt great throwing that jutsu again, but he knew it would distract the Raikage enough for his less lethal attack to hit him. He watched the blue bundle of lightning sail into the base of a mountain nearly a kilometer away and he used that time to gather more natural energy into himself. His markings turned golden, and his eyes now glowed with a fierce golden determination. As the four Magatama appeared on Naruto's combat jacket, he thought that it was time to show the world what a sage could do. Now he is serious, Jiraiya. More serious than I ever fought him in. Tsunade said with amazement. Holy Kami, can you sense all of that natural chakra he is gathering? How is he not being turned to stone? Jiraiya gasped out. Chome spoke up. Naruto has more than enough of his own chakra to balance that out. If he starts to get overwhelmed, then Kurama absorbs the excess. It is a truly amazing feeling to be inside him when he is in that state. Yeah, he feels so warm, energetic and full of, well, life. Samui said, remembering what it felt like to meditate with Naruto when he was in his golden sage mode. She thought that was a way better name than stage 3. Watch out guys, he is going to break out the big guns now. Gaara cautioned. You mean the Rasenshuriken isn't the big guns? Jiraiya asked. He had been busy with Iwa and hadn't been able to keep up with Naruto's progress. Nope. Temari chirped in support of her brother. As Ai collected himself from the newest hole in one of his mountains, he took a deep breath and reignited the full lightning armor. He growled, that one actually hurt. The scale of the kid's attacks made it nearly impossible to counterattack and it made Ai desperate enough to fall for a clone swap. Who can blame him? Who possibly has enough chakra to chuck out jutsu like that? Well, if the kid wanted jutsu then Ai could do jutsu, or so he thought. I dodged around massive pits filled with wooden spikes, earthen projectiles the size of small houses and he jumped over another wave of mud. As he closed the distance to Naruto, he finished his hand signs, landed on the ground, slammed his Lightning covered hands on the ground, funneled a massive amount of lightning chakra and called out, "Supreme electromagnetic murder." The muddy field immediately hardened as all of the residual water in the field immediately electrolyzed, and then the earth began cracking as a wave of electricity nearly 200 feet wide sped toward Naruto at incredible speeds. Naruto saw this and two chains sprouted out of his tailbone and pushed him up into the air like he was on insulated stilts. The Raikage's jutsu passed underneath him without incident and launched himself into the air at the airborne Naruto. Naruto thought the wooden tail dodge was cool, but it also left him fairly immobile, especially against an opponent as fast as I. Spittle flew from Naruto's mouth when I slammed into him, his body crackled with electricity as the contact with I electrocuted him, and then his head hurt really bad when I wrapped him up in mid-air and called out, "Liger bomb drop." Naruto went headfirst into the hardened earth of the training ground and a crater nearly 400 feet wide was formed and Naruto was buried nearly 100 feet below what used to be ground level. The audience roared in approval at the display of prowess from the Raikage. That was a supreme display of speed and power from the man they all respect. However, their joy was short-lived as Naruto kipped up with a bit of blood trickling from his head. The whole mountain range crackled with natural energy as Naruto weaved through hand signs faster than anyone could process, and what happened next dropped the jaws of every onlooker, including the Senju family. Naruto stomped his foot into the ground and a fissure 500 feet wide appeared in the mountain and moved toward I faster than even he could dodge in his stunned state. I started bouncing on the walls of the chasm that was still in the process of forming and attempted to regain altitude and return to the plane of battle. That was until hundreds of wooden tentacles sprouted from the ground and impeded his progress. His lightning armor was not enough to simply dash through them, and for the first time in the fight the Raikage was truly in trouble. As he was frantically dodging, I couldn't think about the next step in the battle or what he would do next. It took every millisecond for I to focus on dodging the wooden monstrosities in order to return to the fight. That was why he missed the insane buildup of chakra and natural energy as Naruto called on the water from a river that was over a mile away from the current training field. When I was near the top of the newly made chasm, he looked up and froze. Naruto was so into the match that he didn't realize he may have gone a bit overboard. The training ground no longer existed and all that mattered was winning this match over I. That was why he didn't consider it overkill when he used Water Style, Wrath of the Water God. This jutsu collects all of the water the user can muster, which in Naruto's case is all of the water vapor in the air, the drinks from the viewers around the mountain range, the streams in the area, and evidently a river that should have been out of his range. That was why even Naruto was surprised to see a small ocean's worth of water appear in the air in the form of a fist nearly 800 feet wide. B saw that his brother was in serious trouble, and he jumped to his brother's defense as he synced with Gyuki and took his full Biju form over top of the Raikage and ate the full brunt of the water attack. Gyuki secured I in the interior of his tentacles and wrapped himself into a ball before hardening his body with his yokai. The deluge of hardened water slammed into Gyuki, splashed everyone in the audience like a ride in an extreme water park, and filled the newly created gorge with water. "Holy shit," Tsunade said with her hands over her mouth. Jiraiya's jaw was on the floor, his hair was a sopping wet mess, and his finger was stuck pointing toward the training ground. He was so stunned he didn't even take the time to appreciate all of the beautiful breasts that now had soaked linen sensually exposing cleavage. It was like the largest wet t-shirt contest of all time, and Jiraiya wasn't even basking in the glory of it. He was simply too stunned. "I think he may have overdone it," Ino said through giggles. "You think?" Tamari shot back with a proud smirk on her face. "Is he even human? A human can't do that," Karui said in a state of stunned disbelief. "Oh, it's cool, he is human all right. A mighty fine human that is very, very well endowed," Samui said as she cradled her pregnant belly with a fond, proud and slightly perverted look on her face. "There are so many disaster scenarios running through my head right now that I can't even choose one," said Omoi, whose lollipop had fallen on the ground, forgotten in favor of simply gawking at the display. "Kitten, that is like what my father used to do. It is hard to believe his training yielded such results," Matabi said to Yugito through their mental link. Yugito nodded dumbly. "Anko and Riri, how is your brother?" Yugito couldn't even finish her thought. Rias decided to answer the question. "It is nearly impossible to describe what it feels like when he is in that mode. He is so connected to the world and nature that he can simply bend it to his will. His body is nearly indestructible and the power he can wield at any given time is, well, you can see a small sample of it now. A small sample, Mabui said incredulously. What about that was small? Rias shrugged, pray you never see the big guns. And if you do see them, make sure you are very, very far away. Back on the battlefield, the water was finally starting to recede, and everyone could see Gyuki emerging in his octopus form with Ai standing on his head. Ai was scowling while adorned in his lightning armor and the armor was crackling fiercely enough to light up the top of Gyuki's head like some bright star on a Christmas tree. Oi, what the hell, Senju? Ai shouted at Naruto. Naruto shrugged nonchalantly, I should be asking you that. You are the one that brought the tag team into the equation. Do you concede? I scowled, but it was B that spoke through Gyuki's form. You went overboard, fool ya fool, and the IP combo will make you sore. Naruto laughed, oh, okay, so we are breaking out the big guns now. Very well then. Before anyone could stop him, Naruto clapped his hands together, flashed into his full Kurama Sage mode, gathered a colossal amount of natural energy and Mokudan chakra in his body and called out, wood style, true several thousand hands. Let's do this Ruto. Kurama shouted in glee from the mindscape. This was going to be his defining statement to Gyuki that he was, is and always will be the leader of the Biju. The crowd gasped in shock as a truly amazing sight that hasn't graced the world since Hashirama Senju formed in the training ground and grew to tower over the mountains themselves. Naruto looked down from the head of a giant Buddha statue with thousands of hands arranged in a circle behind the Buddha emerged. To put it in perspective, the Buddha statue was about 5 times taller than Gyuki and much, much wider. Each of the hands on the Buddha statue was at least half the size of Gyuki, and there were 1,000 of those things. No fucking way. I said in denial. Yo, too far bro. Ain't no way that you bring that thing out to play. B said in a mumble rap. Naruto's smirk encompassed his entire glowing face as he looked down on Gyuki, I and B as he reveled in the opportunity to cut loose and debut one of his grandfather's jutsu. His smirk was so pronounced that Tsunade groaned from her position in the stands as she was stood up in shock of seeing the jutsu again. This isn't good, he is lost in the bloodlust of the battle. All he wants is to test himself, Tsunade whispered. No way, he wouldn't do that. He can feel all of the people and that jutsu would destroy this mountain range. He is just showing off. Tamari comforted Tsunade. Back on top of Gyuki, there was a debate going on and it wasn't going in Ai's favor. Bro, Gyuki says no. No. B said passionately in an attempt to break his brother out of his battle-crazed state. So, Lord Raikage, do you wish to continue? Naruto's voice echoed across the mountain range as the wind obeyed his call to carry his calm words. Before I could answer, Gyuki spoke, I want no part of this B. I fought against that once before and I do not wish to do so again. With those words, both B and I were surprised as Gyuki's chakra was sucked back into B and I fell from nearly 100 feet in the air. I flipped gracefully and reinforced his body to withstand the ground-shaking impact as he landed. This brought I back to reality as he was forced to crane his neck to look up at the intricately carved Buddha statue. It was unbelievable that this 16-year-old child could bring the stuff of legends back to life. I concede, Naruto Senju. I bellowed. Naruto briefly pouted atop his wooden statue before a devilish smirk crossed his face. One of the Buddha's hands extended and reached over a kilometer before it slammed into a mountain Naruto had cleared. Naruto reveled in the crowd's gasp as the single fist of his statue disintegrated the top half of the mountain. Good choice and great fight, Lord Raikage. Naruto shouted as he released his jutsu in a slow fashion that let him descend down to the training ground, or what used to be a training ground. Sorry for reshaping your terrain without your permission. I think I got kinda carried away. Naruto said as he scratched the back of his neck sheepishly. I sighed before cocking an eyebrow at Naruto, oh ho. And what gave you that impression? Naruto simply smiled in response. Was it the new gorge? Or the new reservoir? Or maybe it was the fact that you blew up one of my mountains just to show off. Naruto walked forward, completely ignoring the Raikage's sarcasm, and extended a hand. Good fight. I just wanted everyone to know that you only conceded to save your people. There was no shame in your defeat in that mountain over there, or X mountain I should say, it's more of a small hill now. Anyway, that last part was to show people that there is absolutely no shame in your defeat. I respect you, and I didn't want to do anything to compromise our future relationship. That kid is just as scary as father used to be. Gyuki said through B's body, before B retook control. Listen to my main man Gyuki, he said it is too much for I and B. Ain't no shame in losing to family. Naruto belted out a laugh before he was forced to duck a chakra-enhanced punch to the head from Tsunade. What the hell were you thinking, brat? Naruto continued to dodge around his mama, that we were just two guys having fun. He isn't even mad, mama, so why are you? I couldn't help the bout of full-blown laughter that overtook his being. The strongest man in the world was be chased and chastised by the strongest woman in the world, and a girl he considered his niece will be marrying into that crazy family. He honestly didn't know whether he should be happy or scared for Samui. At least anyone that witnessed this display wouldn't dare hurt her for fear of Naruto's wrath. That evening, a going-away party was held by Kumo for the Senju family. The village truly appreciated what the Senju family had done for them, and a festival was held in their honor. The display put on by Naruto and the Raikage was all anyone could talk about, and it was talked about in reverence by nearly everyone in Kumo. Things like the following were heard throughout the night. Lord Senju will protect us alongside the Raikage. There is nothing stronger in the world than those two. The Lord Raikage fought for so long against that man. Lord Senju isn't even human. He must be the son of Kami. Not too far from the truth. Thank Kami, the Senjus are on our side. There were many other mutterings that could be heard by those attending the festival, but it didn't matter to Naruto. He was just glad nobody was talking down about I or any of the other shinobi of Kumo. All that mattered to him were the overwhelmingly positive feelings and vibes that he got from the Kumo crowd. He wanted to keep them as an ally moving forward, and he would need them in the future. A couple days later, the Senju family departed for Uzushiogakure. Almost nobody knew the island was being rebuilt, and Tsunade had installed a state-of-the-art medical suite there. She figured Samui having the baby off the radar would be the best approach, and nowhere was more off the radar than Uzushiogakure. They would spend the final month and a half of Samui's pregnancy on the island and use that time to chip away at the endless pile of work that rebuilding New Uzu would be. A beautifully unique wedding. Samui gave birth to Naruto's second son within the privacy of New Uzu 2 months before Naruto had scheduled his return to Konaha. Naruto, being the selfless gentleman he is, flashed in between Kumo and New Uzu in order to bring the important people in Samui's life. Thus, the training group was joined by Samui's adoptive parents, Mabui, Yugito, Darui, Shi, Karui, all of the family from Wave, Choji, on behalf of Karui, Shikamaru, on behalf of Hikari, Shino, and Tayuya, on behalf of Yami. The extra additions enjoyed a full week with the Senju family, and they joined the celebration of Samui's birth. There were no incidents throughout the birth because Tsunade, Shizune, Hinata, and Haku all volunteered to fulfill the role of the medical staff. That meant that she literally received the best care in the elemental nations. This resulted in Naruto and Samui welcoming Arashir Senju Uzumaki into the world. The blonde-haired, blue-eyed baby crackled with electricity, and Tsunade had pointed out a birthmark over his left breast that almost looked like the symbol for Kami. Naruto resigned himself to accepting it, and Samui was thrilled that her baby, the child literally thrust upon her by Kami, had the protection of the deity. Later that night, after Naruto left Samui and Arashir in bed, Naruto joined the bonfire on the beach of New Uzu. The training group always loved their drinking and spending nights on the beach, so it was just the natural end to the night for the family. As everyone was relaxing on towels, logs or beach chairs, it was comforting to see that everyone had coupled up. So, little sister, when did you and the not-so-lazy bum get together? Rias chirped, trying to start up a conversation and drag her little sister a bit. Hikari blushed and Shikamaru answered in her stead, "Don't be bothersome, Rias." Shikamaru sighed as Anko and Rias stuck their tongues out at him. "We got together during the intermission of the Chunin exams. It was Yosuke that decided to speak, then, why all of the secrecy? We would have welcomed you into the family if you told us." Hikari squeaked in embarrassment and hid her head behind her knees. Shikamaru sighed loudly before he drawled, "Because you all are the definition of troublesome." If we told you, then you would have bothered Hikari nonstop. She told me the truth about herself shortly before you all left, and it took me a while to decide that it didn't change anything. Plus, a long-distance relationship is way less troublesome than dating someone from the village. Shizune cocked an eyebrow and lifted her head from York's shoulder. Care to elaborate? Her tone said, you better answer punk and I better like the answer you give. Shikamaru sighed, well, my mom stopped bothering me when I told her I was dating somebody. Then, all I had to do to make her happy was write a couple messages. That is far easier than taking her on dates and all that troublesome jazz. Kurama belted out a laugh. Yami didn't know how he should feel as a brother. Yosuke looked disappointed in his little sister's choice and Naruto scowled and growled loud enough to make Shikamaru flinch. Surprisingly, it was Hikari that stood up for herself. Shikamaru Nara. Don't make me perform the frying pan no jutsu on your lazy ass. She shouted at the terrified face of Shikamaru. Then she started giggling evilly and wringing her hands together. Oh yes, my dear, your mother taught me that technique. She said all women in the Nara clan need it to motivate their husbands. And if you don't take me on a date the first week I am back into Konaha, then I will test out the frying pan your mother gave me. Despite Shikamaru's mortified look, everyone was laughing and cheering on the sweetheart of the Senju clan. Enko literally ran over and scooped her up in a prideful hug while every female cheered her on. You tell him girlfriend. Samui cheered. I have never been prouder of my girl. Tsunade chirped. And you, Nara, you treat her right or a frying pan is the least of your concerns. She got that from me. Rias bragged. That's it, Hikari. You tell that lazy ass. Naruto added in. Holy shit, this family is full of batshit crazy assholes, I fucking love it. Tayuya summed up what everyone was thinking. Unfortunately for Tayuya, her contributions earned her the attention of the family. Her usual confident nature evaporated, and she began to shrink back into herself as the friendly faces of the Senjus turned into demonic masks with glowing eyes that were all looking at her. It was Hikari that smiled devilishly and opened the questioning of the new prey. Oh, don't think we forgot about you. You are awfully chummy with the newest reformed member of the family. What do you think of his new look? Tayuya blushed before she tried to muster some of her usual gusto. I think that the asshole looks even better than before. I mean, no offense ladies, but he looks just like Ruto, except with dark hair. And Ruto is like, well he is fucking perfect. So, I like the emo asshole even more now that his eyes are like the fucking shitheads. Tayuya got into a rant and spoke all of that in less than 10 seconds, which left her huffing and puffing. Oh my, how bold, Himawari teased. Tamari nodded along with Himawari, yup, totally bold. Does that chick have Tourette's syndrome or something? Omoi asked since it was his first exposure to Tayuya. Naruto belted out a laugh. Nah, she is just a girl that went through some shit and the way she coped with it was spewing curse words like a drunken sailor on Christmas Eve on the first day of shore leave. Ah, go fuck yourself Naruto. Tayuya shot back. Naruto created a clone that transformed into Naruto and the clone said, been there, done that. This statement left jaws hanging on the ground and Naruto simply shrugged. What? You are just jealous you can't masturbate in such an awesome way. Tsunade facepalmed, holy kami, Ruto. Why did I never think of that? Rias was wearing a pouty face, I didn't think of it either, mama. Hinata was trickling blood from her nose, I think I have enough chakra to do that now. Gaara growled and tossed a sandball at Naruto. This is your fault, Naruto. Tamari giggled, oh, relax brother, she would only do it while you are in Suna. The whole night fell apart in perverted debauchery as the drinks kept flowing. Then, everyone broke up into couple and Naruto retired to his bedroom with Ino, Tamari and Samui. Samui cuddled into his warmth immediately and Naruto made sure that the baby monitor was synced to his seal so that his girls could get a good night's rest. The next morning, Naruto pulled Gaara aside to have a difficult talk about something he felt. Having access to Golden Sage mode made him so in tune with everything around him that Naruto finally felt Karura's presence in the seal for the first time. Thus, after Gaara ate breakfast, he joined Naruto on a jog around Uzushio. During the jog, the brothers just enjoyed each other's company until they eclipsed the peak of the dormant volcano and Naruto slowed to a stop. Gaara pulled up next to his brother and used his shirt to wipe off some of the accumulated sweat. Gaara hated how sweat clumped up his sand armor because it made him feel super itchy. Isn't it beautiful, bro? Naruto said, still unsure of how to broach the topic. Gaara smiled as he looked out over the island and the ocean. Indeed, it is. What is it, Ruto? We have been brothers for most of our lives. I know when you have something to tell me and don't know how to do it. Naruto chuckled nervously. Well, will you meditate and sync with me for a bit? I think I felt something other than Shukaku in your seal and I think Shukaku knows what it is. Gaara cocked his head and Shukaku was strangely quiet within the seal. Sure, I trust you. Naruto nodded and guided Gaara into a joint meditative position. Part of his experience at the temple was learning how to synchronize with others and truly understand their feelings. They both sat into a lotus position atop the volcano and Naruto clasped Gaara's wrists and Gaara did the same to Naruto's. Okay, brother, I am going to enter sage mode. I need you to relax, welcome my chakra and open your mind to me. Naruto said softly, to which Gaara simply nodded and closed his eyes. It took less than 10 minutes for the two to get synchronized and when Gaara opened his eyes, he was standing beside Naruto in the seal. They were standing in front of Shukaku's cave and Naruto was pleased to see that instead of an endless desert, Gaara's mindscape was actually a desert oasis next to a cave. It took Shukaku a minute to come out of the cave, but when he did, Naruto could feel the tanuki's nervousness. Naruto flipped Shukaku a wave by way of greeting. Yo, Shukaku, how's it hanging? Shukaku's beady eyes passed over Naruto before locking onto Gaara's. Good morning, Gaara. To what do I owe the pleasure? Gaara crossed his arms and looked directly into Shukaku's eyes. Good morning my friend. Naruto informed me of another presence dwelling within my seal and I wished to ask you about it. Shukaku broke eye contact and looked around the desert terrain nervously. I don't. Naruto spoke firmly and cut Shukaku off. Do not lie to us, Shukaku. You should know better than that by now. That was when a short, beautiful brunette woman walked out of the cave and spoke loud enough for the three to hear. It is quite all right, Shukaku. I have delayed this for far too long. As Gaara was taking in the woman, his heart skipped a beat and his jaw fell. The woman simply met his odd expression with a look of compassion and sorrow. Hello, my son, it is nice to finally meet you. My name is Korora and I. You are my mother, Gaara gasped out, to which Korora simply nodded and offered him a weak smile. Have you been in the seal since his birth? Naruto asked, already working towards a solution to this problem. Korora's motherly gaze turned toward Naruto and she beamed a smile at him. Yes, Naruto Senju, I have. Thank you for saving him from a truly dreadful fate. Naruto returned her smile. No problem, he is my brother. Now, before I give you both time to catch up, I have a couple questions. Is that all right? The three nodded. Is your whole soul sealed within the seal? Korora shrugged. I don't know. Chio performed the sealing ritual when the umbilical cord was still attached. Naruto facepalmed. Okay, I know now. Yes, your chakra and soul powered the seal. That was the only reason such a shoddy seal was able to contain Shukaku at all. Second, do you wish for freedom? Gaara's head snapped toward Naruto, and he asked in a voice of desperation, Ruto, brother, is it possible? Naruto nodded. Yes, it will not be perfect like with my clones, but I should be able to complete a transference seal and place it on my wood clone. That would let your mother out of the seal. Korora shook her head sadly. No, at least not now. I am Gaara's automatic defense. I know what you boys are up against and I will not leave until the threat of the Akatsuki is gone. I saw what happened last time and I refuse to let my baby boy be in danger. Naruto promptly shut up and let his brother-in-law, but blood take over the conversation. Mother, what if we let you out when we are relaxing with family? I will accept your help like I have partnered with Shukaku. I just want Tamari and Kankuro to know you. Tears percolated at Korora's ducts. It was her sincerest wish to be there for her children. I will think about it, my son. Naruto took a step back and made a nudge with his head toward Shukaku to let mother and son have their alone time. Naruto walked into Shukaku's cave and was surprised by how comfy it felt. Nice digs. Naruto chirped toward the Biju that had shrunk down to the size of a lion. Thank you, Naruto. What do you wish to speak about? Shukaku asked. Haha, always straight to the point Shukaku. I like that about you. You know that Gaara will be heading home soon. I have done everything I can to prepare him and the two of you are much stronger. I need you to protect my brother and Suna for me. Naruto finished with a genuine bow to Shukaku. Shukaku didn't know how to feel. His brother's container was bowing before him as he made a request. At this moment, Shukaku was synchronized with the chakra and natural energy of this boy, and he could feel his sincerity. He knew, he had known for a long time, that this was the child their father spoke of. This golden sage mode was just further proof of it, and Shukaku cracked a genuine smile before addressing the bowed man. Rise, Naruto. You do not need to bow to ask such a thing of me. Of course, I will protect my family and my home. Naruto rose and beamed a gigawatt smile at Shukaku. Thank you, Shukaku son of Hagoromo. I promise that when this is all over, I will find a more permanent solution to freeing the Biju. Shukaku responded by holding out a sand-covered fist to Naruto. I know you will. The two bumped fists and Naruto's eyes widened. I give this freely to you along with my trust. I am excited to see this new cycle. Naruto dropped his fist and embraced Shukaku in a hug. The lion-sized tanuki fidgeted awkwardly before it fell into Naruto's embrace. The feeling of his chakra feels just like father's, Shukaku thought. After the birth and Gaara's intervention, the Senju family and the training group headed to Wave to prepare for the wedding. It was going to be the final stop of the training. Oh hell, it was more like a world tour. Naruto couldn't lie to himself anymore. Sure, he was far stronger than when he left, but that was just the family working out and sparring while they visited friends in far places. Now, for the first time, friends in far places won't have to travel for days. Wave's teleportation tower was finished, and Naruto received word that the teleportation towers in Kiri, Suna, Konaha and Kumo were all linked up. The wood clone squads he sent out daily had finally completed their work. The towers all had communication tablets. It was like a 4-foot by 2-foot slab with a layer of etched chakra metal that were linked to the other towers. The tab would be used to select destination, it informed the operators of the chakra costs, and it tracked the state of the chakra battery. The process also required permission from the receiving teleportation tower for the transmission to be open and accepted. There were still quite a few things to iron out with the invention, but Naruto's clones had been teleported around the world and they used the test as an excuse to dole out invites to Naruto's wedding. Each nation was keenly interested in utilizing the technology to its maximum, and it may revolutionize trade because the travelers could carry their cargo and products in storage scrolls while traveling. That being said, every participating nation was protecting the technology and keeping it a secret from the unincluded nations. Naruto didn't want to start a world war because he hadn't had the time to build towers in the smaller countries yet. Thus, on August 4th, with 2 weeks remaining in the time allotted for the training trip, everyone was gathering to offer their congratulations for the joint wedding of Naruto Uzumaki Senju to Temari Subaku, Ino Yamanaka and Samui of Kumo. The Konaha group showed up last night and even Itachi was present for this occasion. It took 4 uses of the teleportation tower to send everyone that was invited from Konaha to the wedding, and Itachi had to wait for the tower to be recharged. As Itachi stepped out of the teleportation tower and shook off the slight nausea that always accompanied new space-time technique, he remembered the council meeting that he was forced to endure after his talk with I and Naruto. Flashback, 1 week after Itachi's meeting with Naruto and I, Konaha Council Chambers. Itachi pushed his feelings of self-pity to the back of his mind, and he fixed his face as he entered the council chambers. He knew that this meeting was going to be painful and there was going to be a lot of griping as the council was going to be forced to stomach yet another action of their Senju heir. He took his place and he smiled at the 5 civilians that were newly elected to the position of council representatives. He smiled at Aoba, the financial representative, Tyuki, the culinary representative, Hato Higurashi, the shinobi wares representative, Zeke, the foreign trade representative, and Madame Shijimi, the head representative of the civilian council and will of the Fire Lord. This was the biggest change made during Itachi's reign, and it made council meetings far easier to stomach when there were only 5 civilians that weren't crazy. He then gave a nod to the clan heads, with the only change being Asuma Sarutobi taking over as clan head for the Sarutobi clan. Finally, he made eye contact with Hiruzen Sarutobi, the sole elder advisor of the Hokage. With a sigh, he sat down in his Hokage seat and began the meeting. Good evening, everyone, thank you for making time in your busy schedules. I called you here today to discuss the enhanced treaty with Kumo and to discuss a project proposed by the Senju family. Itachi said monotonously. What prompted the enhanced treaty with Kumo? Hiyashi Hyuga asked what everyone was thinking. Isn't it obvious? The Senju training group is in Kumo. Shikaku Nara said blandly. Itachi coughed and regained the attention of the council. Yes, the Senjus are in Kumo at the moment, and they will be there for the next 6 months. However, there were unexpected circumstances that led to the treaty. Tuki groaned. What did the crazy family do now, and when should I expect my best customers back? Madame Shijimi let out a jovial laugh. Kinji had informed her about the surprise baby. She would admit that she was more than shocked to hear the news. She was supremely jealous because Kaori was close to the boy, but he had always refused her. That was when Kinji laughed throughout the whole time he was telling her the story that Naruto told him, or at least a heavily edited version that Naruto told him. Don't be like that, Tuki. That family has done much for Fire Country. Shijimi said. Hiruzen groaned. It isn't that we don't appreciate what he has done. It is the piles of paperwork and the headaches that make us groan. Itachi coughed once more. Sure, he enjoyed that the council sessions were more lighthearted now, but he wanted to get this over with. Well, from what I was told, Naruto is having another child, and this child is with a girl from Kumo. Itachi decided to rip the band-aid off. Inoichi stood up and slammed his hands on the table. He did what? He cheated on my daughter. Itachi raised his hands and calmed Inoichi down. Actually, Mr. Yamanaka, it sounded more like your daughter and Tamari tied him up in bed and surprised him with this girl. For the full story, I would advise asking your daughter. This statement earned scandalized gasps from the council, but Itachi pushed forward. For the purpose of this council meeting, Naruto Senju Uzumaki wishes to add Samui of Kumo to his wives. She will accompany Naruto back to Konaha if, and only if, we approve of her marriage to him. Hiruzen facepalmed and slowly slid his hand down his face, but it was Chusa that spoke up with a hearty laugh. The kid is already enrolled in the CRA, and he has refused girls from each of our clans. Then, Inoichi's princess forces the kid into a foursome and the girl gets pregnant. Don't kids these days know how to use contraceptives? Inoichi slammed his head against the table. What have I done? Shikaku patted him on the back lazily. There, that troublesome family loves your daughter. Where did I go wrong with her, Shikaku? Inoichi whispered in a depressed sigh. Chusa laughed heartily again, but it was Sum that spoke up this time. Oh, please. Like we don't all remember the kinky public sex you had with Inara. Being a nympho must run in your family. Cough. Please, everyone, calm down. Chusa, there were extenuating circumstances and Naruto's anti-pregnancy seal didn't work. Regardless, what do we think of a full military and trade alliance with Kumo? Itachi said, once again bringing the attention back to him. Zeke, the foreign trade representative, spoke up. It presents a good opportunity to fill in for the merchants we lost during your reforms. Kumo has been doing well lately and they have a bunch of mineral and human resources we could benefit from. Shikaku sighed loudly. Why are we talking like we are even considering denying it? That troublesome Senju has brought us another good ally and we are obviously going to accept. So, let's just get it written up and iron out the details. Itachi sighed in gratitude for his Jonin commander. Thank you, Shikaku. I leave the first draft in your hands. Bring it to my office in 2 weeks to discuss it. Shikaku nodded and pleased smiles went around the council chamber because it took less than 15 minutes to handle the first issue. Next, we must discuss a project for a teleportation tower to be built in Konaha. Come again? Sum asked. Itachi took a deep breath and began explaining. Naruto has completed his work for a teleportation tower. He is setting up a network between Kiri, Kumo, Wave, Uzushiogakure and various capitals. He asked if we wanted one. To understand this, imagine civilians traveling via the Horizon. We could get that set up on a large scale and have instant travel to each of our allies. Holy Kami, Hiyashi gasped. No freaking way, Chusa said. Tuki shook his head. The kid can't stop himself from changing the world. Shijimi laughed heartily. Just think about it, you can seal all of your goods up and go to Kumo for a day and sell your wares. Sure, There will be a bunch of stuff to iron out, but it is truly revolutionary. Hiyashi nodded, like taxes, payment and any number of issues. Itachi took control once more as people muttered to their neighbors in surprise. For now, we only need to discuss the approval of 100 square meter property, the purchase of 50 kilograms of chakra metal and the payment of the Senju family for the construction of the tower. It was Hato's turn to stand up in surprise exclamation, 50 kilos of chakra metal. That is a year's worth of our normal import. How much is that in real money? Asuma asked. About 5 million, give or take. The price fluctuates quite a bit and if other countries are putting in bulk order for this project, then it will likely be even more expensive. Hato answered. Asuma whistled in appreciation of the number, that is quite the sum. So, we will also need to send an ambassador to Iron Country then, huh? Itachi nodded, yes, that is a good point. As with the other item, we can assign the details to a team later. Let us vote on whether or not to fund and accept this project. Shikaku stood up. Fellow councilors, before we take this vote, I thought I should make a point. If other countries do this and we do not, then we will fall behind in trade and it will not take long for that to happen. This is almost a requirement for us to bite the financial bullet and approve this. Zeke spoke up once more, Lord Shikaku is right. Once the merchants experience this, it will change the whole game. Any country not tied into this system would instantly fall from favor. After a quick and unanimous vote, the council approved the project. Itachi spoke up again, finally, I am notifying this council that Naruto Senju is scheduled for a spar with the Raikage. That being said, we all know the kid and I am familiar with I. This will likely get out of hand and become a real fight. Here is an ask the question on everyone's mind, is Naruto strong enough to fight the Raikage on even footing? Itachi, the usually calm, composed and unflappable Itachi, actually laughed. I will inform the council that according to Tsunade, Naruto has completed his sage training. If she is to be believed, then Naruto is not far stronger than Lord First in his prime. This statement left the council in a stunned silence before everyone registered what was said and began speaking at once. Luckily, Itachi's new system made it easy for him to regain control of the council. Finally, Itachi pointed to Hiyashi, who was the first to ask his question. Was she joking? We all saw what Naruto did during the invasion, but Lord First's jutsus were on an even greater scale than that. No, Lord Hyuga, she was not joking. I have received videos of his spars with Tsunade, Jiraiya, Gaara and the rest of the training group. I should also mention that those videos were before he completed his sage training. Now, Naruto's sage mode is about twice as strong as Hashirama's was. That is according to the elder of the Temple of the Great Sage, which is the sage of the Six Paths Temple. Itachi spoke calmly, but even he was having a hard time believing it. Then I hope the Raikage planned for wide-scale destruction and a change of terrain. Inoichi said while laughing. End of flashback. Itachi was now walking around Wave Country and his mother was leading him. She had been here quite often since Naruto left for the training trip and she had become smitten with the island. Of course, she was always there for clan business, but Itachi couldn't begrudge her love for the island. It was beautiful and it was in the middle of a renaissance of sorts. The city was majestic and far more developed than it was 3 years ago during Itachi's mission to Wave. There were also far more people, and the streets were crowded as passengers departed from the docks to enter the heart of the city. Itachi noticed that multiple harbors had been built and dug out and the city had expanded quite a bit. The Mokutan houses were quite the sight as they lined the roads of the city. The people were incredibly happy, and the town was abuzz with news of Wave's savior and protector getting married. There were bouquets of flowers and banners hung over shops in celebration of the wedding. There was also a big screen being set up in the town plaza and another screen on a local beach to let people watch the wedding. Finally, Itachi noticed the Wave shinobi and samurai patrolling the area and screening everyone on the docks that was entering Wave Country. Mom, do you think if I let Naruto run free that he will do for Konaha what he has done for this country? Itachi asked as he walked alongside his mother. Makoto giggled, I don't know about all of that. I would say trust your heart when it comes to that boy. And for the love of Kami don't do what Lord Third did. A cold shiver went down Itachi's spine. Yes, I would not want that. It is just amazing to see what he has done for this country. And it is not just Wave, He has now done it in Suna, Kiri and Kumo as well. Then you have your answer, son. Makoto said with a motherly smile on her face. The wedding ceremony was hosted on Kami's Respite Beach, which was widely considered one of the most beautiful beaches in the world. The beach was on the other side of the island from Ushio village, which meant that the wedding guests ended up walking about 30 minutes outside of the town to attend the wedding. As they entered the beach, it was amazing to see rows of sakura trees in full bloom. In addition, sun lilies, desert lilies and white hibiscus mountain flowers traced an intricate pattern down the path and toward the wedding venue. Holy crap, Tank. Blondie went all out. Karui gasped as she walked alongside Choji, who was wearing a red formal kimono and looking sharp with his hair slicked back. Choji laughed, yeah, I think that is the only way he knows how to do things. As Choji and Karui walked into the wedding venue, Choji greeted Might Guy, who was dressed in a dark green, formal kimono, and Choji was surprised to see his CrossFit instructor talking to a beautiful redhead in a sensual erotic blue formal dress. A blush overcame Choji's cheeks before Karui elbowed him hard in the ribs. It wasn't her fault that Kami didn't bless her with an hourglass figure or massive rack. Sorry, Karui. I just didn't expect Guy-sensei to have a date, Choji said while rubbing the back of his head sheepishly. Karui scoffed, that man has a body sculpted by Kami, of course he has a date. Choji laughed nervously, yeah, I guess so. Can you believe all of this? These nice chairs, the flowers everywhere, and would you look at that tress? Wow, that is a work of art. Karui smiled wryly, I didn't know you appreciated such girly things. Choji shrugged, girly or not, it is just impressive. Just goes to show you how far Naruto will go for his girls. Elsewhere, a fiery redhead is fitting on the vibrant yellow dress that Ino bought her for the wedding. She was buzzing about excitedly and trying to make sure she did everything she could for her daughters-in-law. For the millionth time, Kushina thanked Kami for the opportunity, and she finished touching up her outfit and charged out of the dressing room. Tsunade, is there anything else that needs to be done? Relax, Kushina. We are all good here. All that is left to do are the pre-ceremony drinks, Tsunade said while holding out a saucer for Kushina. I like that transformation. It looks like you, but not quite you. Should be enough to fool all of your old friends. Kushina smiled sadly, yeah, well, I can't blame Kami for that. What we are doing is unnatural and technically against the rules. I am just glad I can be with my family. Kushina hugged Tsunade passionately while making sure not to spill the sake. Now, where are the girls? Tsunade nudged her head, they are doing some sister-wife thing in the other room. Lena walked up to the two women, they should be done soon. They have been in there for 15 minutes already. Kushina giggled, oh, I read about that ritual. Since they are already so close to one another, it shouldn't take long. It was an old family tradition for those practicing polygamy. Lena shook her head and chuckled, you Uzumaki never cease to amaze me. Kushina shrugged, hey, it's not our fault. We naturally gave birth to more females than males, so we adapted to it. Anyway, are you ready, Tsunade? Tsunade grimaced slightly, I have never enjoyed public speaking, but I would do anything for Ruto. Now, let's go get the bridesmaids ready and get this show on the road. In Naruto's preparation room, things were different. Minato was in there along with Yosuke, Yami, Gaara, Shino, Kokuo, and Kurama. The whiskey bottle was already empty, and the mood was pretty light. There was a healthy amount of ribbing, shoulder clapping and congratulations as Naruto prepared himself to marry 3 women that each held a piece of his heart. Are you ready for this, brother? Gaara asked with a hand on Naruto's shoulder. Naruto beamed a gigawatt smile, I couldn't be happier, Gaara. Thank you for trusting me with your sister. Kurama came up and clapped Naruto's other shoulder while handing him a shot of whiskey. Haha, you two have been leading toward this since you were 6. Of course, we didn't plan on the triple, but there are worse things in life. Gaara chuckled at that, yeah, if you weren't my brother and I didn't know your heart, I would have buried you in my sand for trying to marry multiple women along with my sister. Naruto adopted his sheepish pose after taking the shot, hee, yeah. Just know I love her, and I will always be there for her. I know, brother, I know, Gaara said softly. Minato stepped into the fray and started speaking nervous words of encouragement, okay, son, I am proud of you. No pressure, this is just another day, and you are just swearing yourself to 3 beautiful women. This brought laughs out of all the guys, and it was a couple minutes later that they all left the groom's preparation room and took their places for the ceremony. Naruto walked down the aisle and offered nods and waves to many of his guests. He knew most of them, but he never expected 500 people to show up to the wedding. Thank goodness for Mokuten. As he walked toward the altar. In the triplicate tress, he smiled at his work. It took quite a while and many attempts to get it right. Now, he looked at the tress that was composed of 3 separate and intertwining arches that led into an infinity symbol at the top. Each tress was lined with the girl's favorite flower, and the infinity symbol integrated all 3 of the unique flowers into one. Naruto walked up onto the platform and hugged Tsunade and Kurama, who were waiting for him behind the altar. Naruto took his place and waited for the show to begin. Soon enough, the music started playing and the bridesmaids and groomsmen made their way down the aisle. Yugito and Yosuke, Anko and Yami, Rias and Gaara, Hikari and Shino, and finally Kushina and Minato. Each bridesmaid was dressed in a vibrant yellow, spaghetti strap dress, and they all wore silver jewelry. The groomsmen were all in bold red, formal kimonos and looking sharp. Then the music changed, and Naruto watched 3 of the most beautiful women he had ever seen walk down the aisle. They walked hand in hand together, each one acting as the support and escort of the other. They all wore beautiful white wedding dresses with golden etching. Their chests exposed a healthy and respectable amount of cleavage, and the strapless dresses hugged and emphasized the feminine figure of each beautiful blonde. Naruto's breath hitched in his chest and sweat began trickling at the nape of his neck, and his palms became clammy as he watched the loves of his life walk down the aisle. The 3 girls took up a triangle position in front of Naruto with Naruto's back to Tsunade and Kurama. They all looked so divine in their dresses with their hair done up that he couldn't help but thank Kami. As usual, when he offered prayers, he heard the ethereal, "You're welcome," and a peaceful and contented smile fixed itself on his face. Naruto maintained eye contact with his 3 beautiful brides as Tsunade began the wedding ceremony. Welcome friends and honored guests to the truly unique wedding of my grandson, Naruto Senju Uzumaki, to 3 beautiful women that I have grown to consider daughters. As with everything Naruto does, this wedding is unique and truly Naruto in fashion. Tsunade stopped here as a round of laughter swept through the audience. Kurama picked up where Tsunade left off. For those of you that don't know, these 4 carry a truly unique bond that transcends the flesh and binds their souls. Ino Yamanaka, the flower girl and princess of the Yamanaka clan. Tamari Subaku, the princess of Tsunagakure and daughter of the 4th Kazekage. Samui of Kumo, niece of the 4th Raikage and a diva of the blade. All 3 of these girls wormed their way into Naruto's heart and soul, and we are here to celebrate their union to him today. Tsunade continued seamlessly where Kurama left off. Marriage is a public announcement of love and dedication, but it is much more than that. It is the eternal bonding of souls and union of bodies into one. It is a commitment to love eternally and to make love work through the ups and downs of life. Today, 4 souls become one. A husband gains 3 wives and 3 wives gain a husband and 2 sisters. May your love last through the tides of time. Kurama said in a soulful way as his eyes flashed to Tsunade. May your love carry you over the stormy seas. Tsunade said this part and made brief eye contact with Kurama. May joy fill you on the days the sea is calm. May your love endure until the tides end. Tsunade finished the unique vows of the Uzumaki clan. Kurama took sea water out of a ceremonial bowl and sprinkled it over the 4 standing before him. Do you, Naruto Senju Uzumaki, take Ino, Tamari and Samui to be your lawfully wedded wives, to have and to hold, for richer or poorer, in good times and bad, through sickness and health, until death do you part? Naruto beamed a serene smile at his girls before he spoke in a tender yet firm tone, I do. The girls each went through their vows, one by one, and each of them offered a gracious smile to Naruto as they said, I do. You may now present your matrimonial vows. Tsunade said. Naruto, being the man of the ceremony, began. To each piece of my soul and portion of my heart, I love you each dearly and equally. Kami only knows what you mean to me, but I will do my best to put it into words. Ino is my stubborn rock and my obstinate tether. I need you to keep me tied to reality as I garner strength from you to weather the storm. Tamari is the wind in my sails that constantly drives me forward and spurs me to better myself every day. Samui is my sun that brings out the light in my life and helps me remember to appreciate the blessings bestowed upon me every day. To my three loves, I promise to do everything I can, every single day I live, to hold your trust and grow our love. I vow to be there by your side until the end and ever after. 3 words say so much, and the 3 words I choose to say to my 3 ladies are, I love you. As Naruto was speaking, his senjutsu chakra was radiating outward and the whole audience felt the depth of his love for the 3 girls. Every woman was instinctively jealous, every man desired to have that feeling in his life, and the 3 girls had tears brimming on the edges of their eyes. Guy was crying shamelessly into Mei's bust as she patted his head. Minato and Kushina were both shaking as tears of joy sprang from their eyes. Rias, Yosuke, Hikari and Yami all wore peaceful smiles as the senjutsu chakra interacted with their individual bodies and reminded them of what it was like to be a part of that whole. As they separated from Naruto, the new loves of his life filled their places in his body and soul. Ino stifled her sniffles and was the next one to go. Wow, okay, don't know how I am supposed to follow that up, but here it goes. Naruto, from the day I first met you on the playground when I was 4 to this very day, you have inspired me to be a better person, woman and kunoichi. The light you shine and the warmth you exude draws me to you, and the only thing I want for the rest of my life is to be by your side. From the sneaky kisses in the flower shop to the amazing moments under the waterfall, I look forward to each and every future memory I have with you. I promise to anchor you through the storms and walk beside you through the rain. I promise to love you, Temari and Samui, till my dying day. After oohs and ahs, Temari went next. To Naruto Senju Uzumaki, I hold nothing but love for you in my heart. I thank Kami every day for the blessings you bestow upon my life and the people around us. From the day you marched into Suna and saved my brother to this very day, I have been in awe of you. My heart craves your presence, my hands crave your touch, and my lips crave your tender kiss. To my sister wives I say this, I love you no less and will cherish you evermore. I vow to love the 3 of you with every fiber of my being from today until my dying day and every life we have together after that. Samui shuffled nervously before speaking. I don't know how to follow such cool speeches. Naruto, Ino and Temari, from the moment I locked eyes with Naruto in the academy I was drawn to him. When he let me down easy for you too, my heart refused to move on and craved only him. When you came to Kumo, my heart jumped for joy and offered me a surprise. I learned to love and cherish each of you as my best friends, my lovers and my sisters. The past 10 months have been the happiest of my life, and it is my heart's truest desire to be by your sides until the end. It is my soul's sincerest wish to love you every day, hold you every night and be with you always. As Naruto listened to the vows, his face remained content despite the tears of happiness streaming down his face. His smile was truly radiant, and it touched everyone in attendance and viewing from a remote setup. Ai's sniffling was loud enough to rival Guy's as 2 of the manliest men in the elemental nations lost their proverbial shit. Mabui and Mei each appreciated the rare glimpse of the tender side and resigned themselves to comforting their men. Kurenai cuddled into her date and fiancé, and Itachi returned her caring embrace. Kinji pulled Shijimi into a warm hug and Kaori cried wistful tears and prayed to Kami for a man like Naruto. Kami looked down on the ceremony with a wistful smile on her face. She heard the Uzumaki and Senju clans crying loudly throughout her realm. She couldn't bring herself to get out of bed and she summoned a tub of ice cream as she watched the adorable wedding. When she heard Kaori's prayer, her first thought was, "Get in line, sweetheart." Then a startled look crept upon her face and she didn't know how to feel. As everyone was soaking in the adorable display and sweet vows, Naruto took the rings from his father and placed them with love and tender care upon his wife's hands. Each time he took the dainty hands in his own made his heart skip a beat, and each ring he placed on their fingers made his soul sing with joy. His aura became so overwhelmingly peaceful and powerful that everyone began to see flashes of his memories with each girl. In each memory, the amount of love felt filled every heart, and the feeling brought more happy tears out of the guests. Tsunade wiped away her own tears and said, "Naruto Senju Uzumaki, you may now kiss your mates." Naruto and the girls stepped forward and kissed each other in unison. Then Naruto took each girl one at a time and placed a soul-searing kiss on each of their lips. Each girl's eyes rolled to the back of their heads due to the pleasure of the kiss, and the women in attendance let out jealous whimpers as they watched a great man tend to his brides. After Samui recovered from the final kiss of the ceremony, Temari and Samui each took a hand and Ino hopped on Naruto's back as they walked down the aisle to the cheers of the audience. Subchapter: Rowdy Reception. When one invites groups of prominent shinobi and personnel from around the elemental nations to a party, one expects things to get rowdy. When one does that on an island that hails one as a hero, then one should expect rowdy to seem tame in comparison to the true result. Thus, the hangover wave country experienced was one for the ages. The only sober souls were those of the children, and even they were coming down from sugar highs after the epic celebration of the night before. In short, everyone was in a state of contented misery as the morning sun greeted their eyes. At the reception, things started normally enough with a dinner prepared by hundreds of chefs for the thousands of people that attended the street party in Ushio. Naruto's reception was held at the community center, which was the only building large enough to accommodate 1,000 guests. Even still, the beautiful yard of the community center played hosts to the surplus, and many more parties were held on the beaches around Wave. The speeches of the best man, maid of honor and many more were publicized to the laughter of the audience. They touched every heart and filled every soul with laughter. Naruto's first dance was done in Naruto fashion as Naruto and two wood clones danced with his brides to Love Like Crazy by Lee Bryce. It was another emotional moment and another panty soaker for the women in attendance. Naruto then took the mic and presented one of his original love songs to the girls. It was the first time he ever played in public, and it made nearly everyone shed tears, especially the females in attendance. Strangely, Guy asked Mei if Naruto reminded her of the butler on their first date, which made the two smile in fond reminiscence and appreciation of Naruto. The night progressed along the natural tune of a wedding, and the foursome greeted everyone that took their time to come and celebrate the newlyweds. As the dance floor grew crowded, Naruto stayed next to his wives and played host. They were out on the back lawn to catch some of the fresh sea breeze, and they were chatting amiably with their guests. That is when the biggest smile cracked upon Naruto's face and he shook his head in disbelief. "Lee, my eternally youthful friend, it is great to see you again. Who is this beautiful young woman you are with?" Naruto said while suppressing his chuckles. The woman scowled playfully at Naruto while Lee jumped forward and embraced Naruto in a bro hug. "Naruto, this is Lady Shizuka of Nadeshiko. She is my most youthful and fiery girlfriend," Lee said as he punched a glorious fist into the air. Naruto couldn't suppress his chuckles as his three wives turned and looked in stunned disbelief at Shizuka. "Ahaha, ahem, Lee, that is great. Shizuka, it is great to see you again. How did the two of you meet? It is a most youthful story," Lee exclaimed before launching into the details of the story. Flashback: 4 months ago. Shizuka was walking toward the Hidden Leaf Village in hopes of finding Naruto Senju again and taking him up on his offer. She was accompanied by Takiwa, her attendant, and the two were heading into the city when two blurs stopped next to them. They were both chiseled men with military hairstyles. They each wore white baggy cargo pants and black beater shirts. Their muscles bulged as their bodies brimmed with sweat. Shizuka gulped at the sight of the two, and Takiwa was in a similar state of feminine awe. "Good morning to you two beautiful kunoichi. To what do we owe the pleasure of your most youthful company?" Guy asked in his typical loud and boisterous voice. Shizuka stepped forward. "Greetings, Konaha shinobi. I am looking for Naruto Senju. I am on a training trip, and he told me that I should look him up for training and other assistance. Lee took over here. Oh, are you friends of the eternally youthful Naruto Senju?" Shizuka cocked her head, but it was Takiwa that spoke for her. Lord Senju bested Lady Shizuka in combat and subsequently declined her hand in marriage. "We are on a journey to strengthen ourselves and find a worthy husband." Shizuka hung her head in defeat and Lee bounced on the balls of his feet. He completely ignored everything aside from the fact that Shizuka fought Naruto. "Oh, how youthful. You sparred against Naruto." Shizuka shook her head, not wanting to explain her village's customs. However, Takiwa spoke once again. "No, Lady Shizuka issued the right of conquest to Naruto. He bested her in combat and then left the village." Guy cocked his head to the side. "Nadeshikans don't see them often. Of course, Naruto would decline the right of conquest. He has 2 fiancées, and he is such a youthful man that he would never betray their trust." Lee was buzzing with excitement. Lady Shizuka, if you fought against Naruto, then I wish to test myself against you. Shizuka cocked an eyebrow at Lee. Sure, he was in amazing physical condition, but could this man really best her in combat? Lee, if we fight then if you lose I will kill you. Before Guy could stop his eternally youthful student, Lee accepted. Oh, that is most youthful. I accept your challenge. End of flashback. Before Lee could go into the details of the fight, Shizuka covered his mouth with both hands and looked supremely embarrassed. Naruto couldn't stop his laughter at the hilarious scene. If Lee had continued the story, it would have been a short story. Lee was so much faster than Shizuka, and he never learned how to hold back, so Lee ended up besting Shizuka in under 2 minutes. He then carried her unconscious form to Konaha Hospital and stayed with her in Takiwa until Shizuka woke up. And that, dear reader, is what happened between Lee and Shizuka. As our favorite blonde foursome was recovering from their giggle fits, Naruto rose up with mirth in his eyes. It is great to hear that you found somebody that can make you happy, Shizuka. Lee is a great friend of mine, and he was one of the guys I had in mind. Naruto offered a genuine smile to the couple at the end, which made Shizuka blush. Thank you, Lord Senju. Guy's training has helped me vastly improve my own training. He told me to request seals from you that would help enhance my most youthful training. Tamari chuckled lightheartedly. Yes, they will definitely enhance your training. We will do them when we return to Konoha. So, will you be joining us for CrossFit? Shizuka's face slightly paled at the mention of CrossFit, but she responded with a nod and a blush. Yes, I will join you. I have heard stories of the Senju CrossFit sessions. Naruto clapped Lee on the shoulder and wished him the best. That was probably Naruto's favorite surprise of the night. It didn't take long for Shisui Uchiha and Hana Inuzuka to come up. At least Shisui had the decency to come bearing drinks, which Naruto was grateful for. All this talking and not enough drinking was parching his throat. Turns out that Shisui and Hana had been together for a while and Shisui told Naruto that he had a project to work on with him once he returned to Konoha. Another welcome surprise of the night was seeing Chome was forward in the greeting line with Shino. Naruto always held Shino in high regards, and he knew the two would bond together. For Chome, she saw Shino in Naruto's memories and she felt the trust her host held for the boy. Thus, when they met on Uzu during Samui's birth, she felt drawn to the man. Shino was instantly drawn to Chome, for reasons unknown to him at the time. He had talked to Naruto after his first night in Uzu and Naruto laughed gleefully at the dumbfounded expression on Shino's face after Naruto's explained Chome's origins. Once Shino recovered, he confided in Naruto that he wished to court Chome, who may as well have been considered royalty to the Aburame. The two hit it off quickly and Naruto didn't want to think about their main topics of conversation, he was just happy to see the two of them together. A very tired foursome retreated to their own house on the Senju compound in Wave. After people started pairing up, Naruto made houses for each couple and the Senjus bought up more of the property around Wave to spread out. Thus, the villa turned into a compound and on their wedding night, Naruto, Tamari, Samui and Ino broke in their bed. They were grateful that Himawari volunteered to watch the babies for the night, and they made the most of their night. A very pleased and exhausted foursome passed out on the newly christened bed and enjoyed a blissful night's sleep. Returned to Konoha, catching up with the council. After 1 week on honeymooning in the land of hot water, the foursome returned to the Senju compound in Wave via Hiraishin. With 1 week left during the trip, the group offered tearful goodbyes to Gaara, who was returning to Tsunagakure with Raza and Kankuro. He was ready to become the true protector of Suna and the absolute defense of Wind Country. The group also gave heartfelt goodbyes to Yosuke, Himawari, Shizune and York. They were going to stay in Wave Country and protect the Senju's second home. Naruto also had to say goodbye to his parents at this point. Kami let them extend their stay so that they could spend time with their grandchildren while Naruto was honeymooning with his wives. In Kushina's mind, this was the best way to spend their vacation to the mortal realm. To Minato, it was amazing to check up on Naruto's notes and Fuinjutsu projects. He had nothing left to teach his son and he knew his son was more than ready for the challenges to come. When the foursome returned from the land of hot water, they had 1 full day and night dedicated to hanging out with Minato and Kushina. They went for a family outing to the beach and spent the day in the sun and ocean water. Once the kids were put to bed, Naruto flashed Minato and Kushina to New Uzu and showed them some of the renovations he had made in his future plans for the island. It was a surreal experience for Naruto, and it was after this day that he closed his eyes and offered a prayer of forgiveness and reconciliation to Kami. As Kami summoned Minato and Kushina back to her realm, she appeared to Naruto and placed a tender kiss on his forehead. For reasons unknown, as soon as Naruto offered his prayer of forgiveness, Kami snapped out of her depression. Her realm lit up with its normal glow and Kami's pursed lips returned to her usual smile. It was truly confounding for the goddess, and it warranted further exploration. Kami was glad that her chosen enjoyed her gift and she welcomed back her assistants with open arms. For various reasons, the Senju family was splitting up for the foreseeable future. Shizune was pregnant with York's child, and she was excited to take over as the head of Senju Memorial Hospital. Tsunade was more than confident in her abilities, and she believed it was time for Shizune to step out on her own. Plus, they could be there in a flash anytime they wanted to visit, so it was no big deal. Yosuke, in his new, independent, blood clone body, was excited to stay in Wave with Himawari and Haku. He was going to take over as the head trainer for Wave and he would be the #1 when it came to Wave's defense force. He wasn't as strong as Naruto, but the blood clone body let him utilize his experience and skills at nearly 50% of Naruto's, which still made him a total monster. He also had access to Sage Mode and Mokuten, so the whole Senju family felt that Wave was in good hands when they left. Naruto, Samui, Temari, Ino, Hinata, Tsunade, Anko, Rias and Yami walked out of the teleportation building next to the Hokage Tower and took in Konaha for the first time in 3 years. Truth be told, the village hadn't changed all that much, but it was good to be home. They were greeted by Itachi and the clan council, which meant that a council meeting was ahead of them. Thus, the Konoha Senjus walked into the council room side by side and got their first peek at the new Konoha council. As they walked in, Naruto smiled as Tsuki waved, Madame Shijimi winked, and the clan heads all dipped their heads to Naruto. Tsunade went and claimed her seat at the clan heads table and the others took a seat in chairs Naruto made for the meeting to begin. After everyone was settled, Itachi began the meeting. Welcome back to Konoha, Senju clan. There are a couple items that need to be discussed as you return to Konoha. First and foremost, Itachi and the whole council stood up and bowed to a stunned Senju clan. Let us apologize for your treatment after the invasion. You did much to help us survive that attack and your treatment was unjust and undeserved. We hope that we can move past it and look forward to a prosperous future. The whole Senju clan stood, and it was Naruto that spoke for them. Please raise your heads. The people in this room have no need to bow to me or my family. As the council raised their heads, Naruto led the Senju family in returning the bows. I apologize for my combative conduct. During my meditation, I realized that I was bearing unjust grudges against Konoha as a whole for the actions of a few. I too wish to leave the past where it lay and move forward looking toward the future. Itachi beamed a rare smile at Naruto. That sounds wonderful. Now, I see that you have let out your altars for the meeting, but we seem to be missing one and a Senju as well. Naruto stepped forward and addressed the council with pride. Council of Konoha, Rias, Yosuke, Hikari and Yami are no longer alternate personalities of mine. During my growth at the Sage's Temple, I found a way for them to separate from me. They are no longer bound to me, and they are free to live lives of their own. I understand that this is confusing, but for the sake of legalities and our time in Konoha, they are their own unique individuals. This statement left the council stunned and the Senju family simply smiled at the Konoha council until they recovered. Finally, after minutes of looking at frozen faces, Inoichi stood to his feet with the stunned look fixed upon his face. He asked a simple question with a complicated answer. How? How is this possible, Naruto? Naruto chuckled sheepishly. Anbu, please don't freak out. I am going to demonstrate something for the council that will aid in my explanation. After saying this, Naruto closed his eyes and clapped his hands in prayer. In less than 3 seconds, his golden sage markings appeared and he showed off his golden eyes to the council for the first time. Then, 4 Magatama appeared on his jacket and the tree of Yggdrasil appeared in the center of the Magatama. The power he radiated was powerful, all-encompassing and protective, which left the council with jaws on the table. I came to peace with myself, the first domain of nature. When I did this, I realized that I was holding onto the past and the baggage of the past was holding me back from reaching my full potential. When I made peace with myself, it made it possible for me to make peace with others, and I came to understand the human domain of nature. This allows me to understand everyone, and it allows me to convey my true feelings to them. During my training at the temple, I mastered my connection to the domain of the sky. The power of the winds and the energy they carry falls under this domain. When I went to the temple, I had already mastered the domain of the earth, which bears plants and all smaller forms of life. Long story short, through my studies I am more than capable of granting my alternate personalities their freedom. As Naruto was speaking, his natural energy connected with each counselor, clan head, Itachi and Hiruzen Sarutobi. They all knew instinctively that he was telling the truth, and they had varied reactions to this. The clan heads were in awe of such a power, the civilians were inspired, Madame Shijimi was proud of her husband's partnership with the boy, Itachi was glad to have Naruto back in whole, and Hiruzen was hopeful that forgiveness was within reach before he passed on to the pure world. The Senju family just basked in the aura created by Naruto and Kurama. Kokuo and Chome purred clicked in contentedness within their seals. Itachi coughed to snap himself out of the trance the natural energy called him into. That is most impressive, Naruto. Let me be the first to welcome Rias, Hikari and Yami Senju as full members of Konaha. Tsunade smiled regally at Naruto before she turned to Itachi. On behalf of the Senju clan, we thank you for your understanding. Council of Konaha, I also have something that I need to share with you. You may each know Kurama Senju. What most of you don't know is that he is the Kyuubi no Kitsune. He is my soul-bound partner, and he has sworn to partner with me to lead the shinobi world into a new cycle of peace. Today, I introduce you to Kurama, son of Hagoromo Otsutsuki, Kyuubi no Kitsune, an acknowledged leader of the Biju. Naruto formed a wood clone and pumped 8 tails of Kurama's chakra into it. Kurama appeared in the Konoha Council chambers and bowed to the Konoha Council. People of Konoha, I too wish to reconcile the past. As a part of this, I have asked Naruto to share a memory with you that I shared with him when he was still a child. This is the truth of what happened when I was subjugated by Madara Uchiha, and the truth of what happened on the night I attacked Konoha. Naruto bowed again and sent out a peaceful aura. Please trust me. I am going to share a vision of the events. I warn you that they are not pleasant, but this is required to understand what happened so that we may lay it to rest. Itachi nodded hesitantly. Very well, Naruto, you may proceed. For the next half hour, Naruto's chakra showed the Konoha what happened on those 2 destined nights and in between. Naruto showed Kurama's treatment within the seal, and it let them experience the feelings rage, betrayal and even hate those humans caused. Toward the end of the vision, Naruto added in the feelings of reconciliation and peace that Kurama experienced through Naruto. It was a wild journey for the Konoha Council, and it was a lot for them to wrap their heads around. Madame Shijimi stepped up to the plate to kick off the new conversation. Kurama, thank you for trusting us with that information. While I knew your true identity, I never understood you with such clarity. Kurama smiled at the portly lady. You are most welcome, madam. I am grateful for all of the assistance you and your husband have provided. While Madame Shijimi was beaming at Kurama, Makoto stood and addressed the council. Council of Konoha, the truth is that the Uchiha clan knew about the traitorous Uchiha from the neighborhood watch. We harbor no ill will towards Kurama, and we wish to continue our partnership with the Senju clan. Naruto locked eyes with Tsunade when neighborhood watch was mentioned, and he laughed internally at her carefree shrug. Deciding to just air everything, he spoke once more. Yes, after helping the Hyuga clan, I helped the Uchiha clan. It was my spy network that alerted the Hokage about Orochimaru's intentions. I apologize that we missed Iwa's involvement, they kept that under wraps. Gobsmackage. The whole Konoha Council, okay, except for Makoto, Hiashi, Itachi and Madame Shijimi, were completely and totally gobsmacked. This was harder for them to swallow than the Kyuubi turning into a good guy. Hell, this was probably more surprising than Naruto being stronger than Hashirama. Finally, Shikaku's mind kick-started, and he stood up and slammed him hands onto the table. How? No way. You troublesome blonde, your troublesome clan, you're troublesome. Gah. Shikaku lost it. It was an extremely rare sight, but it should be mentioned that Shikaku was assigned the task of identifying the neighborhood watch. Naruto chuckled and scratched the back of his neck sheepishly, haha, yeah. Well, the thing is it all started from my dad's seal and Kurama's advice. Then, well, I made a bunch of money and decided to make the world a better place. So, yeah. At that point, the whole council turned their attention to Hiruzen Sarutobi, who was repeatedly smacking his head into the wall and muttering multiple self-deprecating phrases. It all made so much sense to him now, and it was honestly embarrassing for him not to have noticed it sooner. The familiar notes, the way Mastermind called him old man, and many other clues that should have pointed him toward Naruto all clicked into place. Shikaku mirrored Hiruzen, except he only slammed his head on the table once and clocked out of the meeting. He was just done with this BS. Finally, Hiruzen recovered from his self-imposed beating and turned a glare onto Naruto. Done with helping other nations, my rear. He grumbled. Naruto shrugged, hey, we are all entitled to our secrets. Truth is, Maid Terumi, Raza no Subaku, I and a couple other important people knew who I was. I simply decided to put my skills and resources to use. How did you know all of that information? It seems impossible, even for a skilled spy. Shikaku's curiosity got the best of him, and he decided to re-engage. Naruto beckoned him forward with a sly look on his face. Shikaku looked around, got a nod from Itachi, and slowly walked up to Naruto. He leaned his head to Naruto's mouth and promptly fell on his face when Naruto said, "It's a secret." While the rest of the council was wondering what Naruto said and why he was laughing so hard, Itachi coughed and recentered the attention onto himself. Okay, well, today has been full of unplanned revelations. The items we needed to address were your promotion test, which was waived in lieu of your fight with the fourth Raikage, and future sealing contracts. Naruto ceased his laughter and adopted a more professional attitude. You want to promote me? Itachi cocked an eyebrow at him. Ruto, you and your training group completed a total of 90 feet C, rank or above missions while on your trip. That is not even counting your sealing contracts or the extra work you did renovating the places you visited. Naruto nodded his understanding. For your outstanding work in the field, Naruto Senju, you are hereby promoted to Jonin. Tamari Senju, for your work in the field and demonstrated battle prowess, you are hereby promoted to Jonin. Ino Yamanaka, pending a Jonin exam, you are hereby promoted to Tokubetsu Jonin as a full doctor by Tsunade Senju. Hinata Hyuga, by recommendation of your master, you are hereby promoted to Tokubetsu Jonin as a combat medic. After collecting and promptly sealing their Jonin vests, everyone bowed to the council as they applauded the group. After a heartwarming hug from Inoichi and Hiyashi, the conversation continued. Once again, Itachi led. Naruto, we have compiled a list of sealing jobs for you. We also request your input in adjusting the academy curriculum to more properly mirror your study group. Each member of your study group has excelled and reached the rank of Jonin or Tokubetsu Jonin. Naruto nodded as a prideful smile filled his face. Very well, Lord Hokage, I accept. I also plan to pay an old debt I promised Lord Third. I will allow publication of Uzumaki clan Fuinjutsu levels 1 through 6 by Konaha to be used as the village sees fit. This will be 1 level more than I have given to Suna and 2 levels more than Kumo or Kiri. Chusa Akamichi spoke up. We are grateful for that, Ruto, but why would you give up your clan's knowledge so freely? Naruto sighed. Chusa, do you know how tiring it is creating 500 shadow clones a day to simply create all the tags I need for my businesses? I want to train my future workforce. Plus, all of the big jobs will require the expertise of the Senju Uzumaki clan. Not to mention, Fuinjutsu is hard and it will take time for people to learn it. I have now given them proper motivation to learn the skill, and I would appreciate a couple more seal masters to help make the world a better place. Hiyashi nodded. That makes sense. Tell me, Naruto, any life-changing seals since the teleportation tower? Rias giggled. Just wait and see, Lord Hyuga. We have prepared presents for every clan in Konoha. Madame Shijimi pouted. Just the clans. Naruto let out a full-bellied laugh. Don't worry, Madame Shijimi. I have completed the project you requested. Everyone looked between the two and Hiruzen asked, what project? Naruto unsealed a tablet and handed it to the First Lady of the Land of Fire. He keyed her chakra signature to it and walked outside the council chamber. The tablet started buzzing and blinking and Shijimi clicked the button on the front. She then gasped as Naruto's face greeted her and he waved to her. The whole council gasped when they heard Naruto's voice come in loud and clear. This is a tablet that lets users talk face to face, and it isn't limited to one chakra signature. I have assigned numbers to each tablet, and they can call and interface with one another. I partnered with Mabui of Kumo on this invention and we are still working to iron out some kinks. Ya na. The tablet went blank and the whole council was stunned once again. As the council doors opened, heads turned mechanically towards Naruto, which made him burst out in a fit of laughter. I am telling you guys, you really should see your faces right now. Pwa haha. Naruto laughed merrily as the Senju clan just let him have his moment. Shikaku sighed, once again, I am inclined to ask how. Also, how much range do they have? Naruto was still laughing, so Rias answered, anywhere in the elemental nations. They operate on spacetime fuinjutsu and quite a few other seals. They are an absolute nightmare to make, and we can only make a limited number of them at this time. Shijimi was clutching her tablet to her chest like it was the most precious thing in the world. Thank you, Lord Senju. Does Kenji-kun already have his? Naruto nodded with an understanding smile on his face. Yes, his number is 112. You click the camera icon on the main screen then put in the number. Hiyashi coughed, and how much do these tablets cost? Tsunade spoke on behalf of her clan, unfortunately, they are quite intricate. They are also made of chakra metal. Right now, tablets are starting at $5,000. If we come up with a way to mass produce them, then the price will be far cheaper. Naruto took over, look, there is a lot we could share, but I wanted to run something by the council, and I think the Uchihas would like it. Itachi nodded and Makoto's eyes glowed. With my new sensory abilities, I propose we do a full clear of the land of rice paddies. I will be able to sense Orochimaru, Sasuke Uchiha and other shinobi in the nation. Makoto immediately stood to her feet, and she was fighting hard to hold the tears at bay. Please, 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 everyone, sniffle, please. If there is any hope, please. Itachi moved over and comforted his mother while eyeing Naruto. Explain, was his one-word command. Naruto nodded sympathetically, look, being honest, my range when I concentrate is about 150 miles. I propose an elite team enters the land of rice paddies and clears out Orochimaru's bases one by one. My network tells me that Orochimaru will be changing bodies in the next 3 months, which makes that our window. I do not know if Sasuke was willing or ready to become Orochimaru's vessel, but intelligence told me that he switched bodies after the Chunin exams. Give me my friends, my family and a couple Anbu teams, and we will rip Orochimaru out by the roots. Everyone looked pensive at Naruto's proposition. It would be a win for Konaha if they succeed and it would be a major win for the Uchiha clan to get their lost member back. Itachi finally spoke, when? Could we do this? Naruto shrugged, look, Jiraiya is looking for Otogakure right now. He should be back in a week. Let's see if he finds anything and mobilize the teams in the meantime. Itachi nodded, very well, I will put this to a vote. At that moment, all members of the council and the whole training group raised their hands in support. Itachi smiled gratefully at the room. Very well, the mission is approved. Naruto Senju, you are tasked with leading a team to find and kill the traitor Orochimaru. Your secondary objective will be recovering Sasuke Uchiha. Your tertiary objective will be recovering any prisoners held by Orochimaru and recovering any usable intelligence he may hold. I accept, Naruto said. Soon spoke up here, can you really take the snake traitor, pup? Naruto smirked devilishly, easily, but that honor will be reserved for Mama and my grandfather. Hiruzen looked with pleading eyes at Naruto, Naruto, I wish to come with you. Naruto held up his hand, no, Lord Sarutobi, I understand why you ask, but personal guilt and grudges should be left on the sideline for any shinobi. Furthermore, I heard your chakra system was heavily damaged after the invasion. He is right, sensei. Sit this one out and let your students hash it out. Tsunade chimed in. Hiruzen sighed tiredly, very well. If you can bring him in alive, I would appreciate the opportunity to talk to my old student. Naruto internally balked at that. No way was he going to hold back against the snake. Lord Third, you know how slippery he is and how much harder it is to incapacitate than it is to kill. As mission leader, I unequivocally decline your request. If you want to talk to him that bad, then I will summon him with the Edo Tensei after we kill him. The council gasped at that. Itachi spoke, "You will do no such thing. We will not sacrifice a living being for such a thing." Naruto shrugged, "It's just a wood clone. I altered the jutsu and came up with countermeasures in case we encounter it again." Hiruzen looked appreciatively at Naruto. "If it is possible, then I would appreciate the opportunity." Itachi resigned himself to the back seat. He had a feeling this would be a common occurrence going forward. "Let's just deal with completing the mission first. This has been a long meeting, we will let the Senju family get settled in. Tomorrow, you can gather your desired team and prepare for the invasion of Otogakure." Naruto nodded sympathetically, "I understand. Finally, because it would put undue stress on my family to hide such information, I am requesting that every member on this council sign an Uzumaki blood contract. Once done, I will reveal some sensitive information to this council." Inoichi perked up and panicked a bit, which was noticed by Chusa and Shikaku. Chusa spoke first, "You haven't shared enough sensitive information already." Itachi nodded, "Ruto, he is right. I trust this council and our enemies are at least aware of one already and they know that Samui there, well yeah. Fuck. Naruto hissed before recomposing himself. "Well fine, fuck it, I have 2 kids and they will be living with us at the Senju compound. If you share this information with anyone, I promise you that I will make you regret it. Enko's kid is also a true Senju. So, fuck around and find out, if you dare." Naruto's flared into KSM and put everyone on edge as this aura carried just as much power as GSM and a lot more menace. "We understand, Naruto. We do." Itachi comforted him. "The death penalty will be applied to anyone that discloses this information. It is A.S. rank secret and I trust my counsel." Inoichi stood up and bowed, "Please, for the sake of my daughter and her family, please hold this information close. I do not want a repeat of the wave incident." Chusa clapped Inoichi on the shoulder, "Do not worry, my friend. We stand behind you and the Senju clan." Chusa's merry words got head nods from every member of the council. Naruto beamed a smile as the genjutsu hiding the children fell. "Then, let me introduce you to Kushina Uzumaki Senju, Hashi Senju Uzumaki and Arashir Senju Uzumaki." Makoto squealed and ran up to Kushina, and Sume followed shortly after. Hiyashi stood and walked toward Naruto. "Why is Kushina Uzumaki first?" Rias spoke up, "Because somebody has to rebuild the Uzumaki clan and she is the only redhead." After everyone got acquainted with the children, Naruto bowed to the council. "I thank everyone for my first pleasant experience with the Konaha council. I think I like the reforms that were put in place. Reunion and a call to arms." It didn't take long for word to spread about the return of the Senju clan. It seemed like the village had moved past their fear and mistrust, for the most part. The family was greeted by nearly everyone in the streets as they made the walk back to the Senju compound. Their eyes didn't hold the subdued fear nor did they let their fear rule them. It took 2 hours, a visit to Ichiraku's and a lot of fanfare for the Senju clan to return to their compound. Thus, everyone was more than ready to settle in for an early night. After feeding the babies and putting them down, everyone gathered in the Senju gardens, which were still healthy as ever. Tsunade kicked off the powwow with a cheers and a shot. To the Senju clan being reborn and better than ever. She toasted. To the Senju clan. Everyone cheered before downing their shots. Tsunade refilled and so did everyone else. "Look, everyone, my heart is so full of joy it hurts. Moving forward, there will be a lot of obstacles for us to overcome. Just remember, so long as we are family, family comes before all." Tsunade raised her shot glass. "Family before all." Everyone cheered and downed another shot. Tsunade took a seat and cuddled into Kurama. She smirked when she saw Temari, Samui and Ino each cuddling into a Naruto, or a clone of his. "Alright, for this mission to Otogakure, I need Rias, Hikari and Yami to stay back and guard the children. Yami, with Yosuke and Wave, you are our head of security." Yami slammed his hand over his heart and bowed to his family. "You can count on me." Everyone chuckled as Rias chirped, "Oh, no need to be a tight ass. We know you got this. Let us know what you need." Yami nodded and began planning. He would have to revamp the Senju compound security. Hikari bonked him on the head and brought him back to the present. This time, Kurama spoke up. "Alright, Family, Kami, that is a wonderful thing to say. Anyway, it is go time. We are going to eradicate our enemies, one after the other, until we are free of this burden to live our lives. Keep your guards up and the end is within sight. Everyone chuckled at the zealous words, but it was Anko that chirped, "Oh, everyone knows you just want your kits with Tsunade. Just say it. Hell, we are all strong enough to pick up the slack if you don't want to wait." Tsunade blushed fiercely and went straight to the bottle for a pull. Naruto laughed and clapped Kurama on the shoulder. "All right, Q, if you want it that bad then I agree with Anko. After the snake is dead, have at it." Samui giggled, "Hee hee, wouldn't it technically be you having at it?" Naruto groaned, "For a family that recently recovered from MPD, I thought we came to an understanding on this." Ino chirped, "Well, your alters are separate now, but yeah. In Kurama's case, it would be you." Naruto facepalmed, "I can't win for losing with you all." The night continued at a friendly pace until everyone split up and went to bed. Naruto loved the fact that a wood clone stayed in the baby's room and was able to tend to them. He was grateful that the girls pumped and made it possible for him to feed his children, and it made nights far easier and less stressful. Thus, the Senju family woke up around 8 a.m. to the natural call of the sun. Naruto prepared a breakfast for the family before everyone divided up and went on their own way. At 6 p.m., the rookies, their senseis, Shisui, Tsunade, Kurama, Chome, Kokuo, Anko, Tamari and Samui met in the private room of Ichiraku's for a welcome back party and a mission assignment. The groups had seen each other throughout the training trip, so nothing was too weird, but it was still good to catch up. The drinks flowed freely and about $5,000 of food was eaten. After the fun stuff was out of the way, Naruto stood up and addressed the group. "All right, everyone, there is another reason we are all gathered here today." As everyone quieted down, Naruto continued. "You are all assigned to Task Force Anaconda. This will be a joint operation between everyone here and an Anbu team led by Shisui Uchiha. This will be a long-term mission where we will infiltrate the land of rice paddies, destroy all of Orochimaru's bases and kill the snake trader. Our secondary objective is recovery of Sasuke Uchiha. Our tertiary objective is to free any captives or test subjects. We will also collect any research or valuable intelligence." Sakura clasped her hands over her mouth and tears were brimming at her eyes. Kiba had a hardened look on his face as he put a soothing hand on her shoulder. The other rookies looked nervously around the table. Naruto basically just said that this little group was going to wage war against the Snake Sannin. It was Shikamaru that spoke up on behalf of the group. "Ruto, we seem slightly undermanned to take on a nation. Why do something so troublesome with this small group?" Naruto shrugged, "Look, we will be accompanied by Jiraiya and Tsunade. We want to keep the group small, so the snake doesn't flee. I have a way to keep him trapped in the fight once we find him, but if he goes underground before we can even fight him, then this will all be for naught." Tenten breathed a sigh of relief. "Woo. I thought you were saying that we should fight Orochimaru." Naruto laughed before growing serious. "Look, you guys may have to fight delaying actions against the snake until I can flash there. We will all be close, and we will move methodically." Neji spoke up here. "Naruto, I do not doubt your abilities. I heard about your battle with the Raikage, and I trust your power. However, I believe the problem will be locating the enemy. The land of rice paddies is large, and I must believe that Orochimaru's bases are well hidden and heavily defended. How will we locate the enemy?" Naruto flashed into Golden Sage mode and shocked his fellow rookies and all of those that have never seen it. "In this mode, Neji, I can sense everything. I can sense a Jonin-level chakra signature from over 100 miles away. However, Orochimaru's bases are likely screened off. Tell me, Neji, on a white sheet, it is easier to see a white dot or a black one." Neji shot a deadpanned look at Naruto, who waited with a playful smirk on his face until Neji grunted and answered, "Black." Naruto's smirk transitioned to a smile. "While I could probably sense through any protective seals they have up close, I can also sense the lack of the natural. Orochimaru uses underground bases, and I am in tune with the ground. Where I sense something unnatural, we will investigate. Where I sense shinobi, we hunt." Lee stood up and smashed a fist into his open palm. "This is a most youthful plan. I will assist you, Naruto." "I'm in," said Choji. "Let's get it," Kiba said, followed by a deep bark Bark, from Akamaru. Troublesome blonde dragging my lazy ass on a wild goose chase, moaned Shikamaru. Welcome back, shithead. I'm fucking in. Let's go fry some sound cunts. I hope that creepy fucking, boy-loving, ass-licking snake pedophile gets some ass-breaking, body-fucking, mountain-crushing treatment from mama. Chirped the full-mouthed redhead, which drew massive sweat drops from the group. For Sasuke, whispered Sakura. I can't wait to melt them all. Cheered Tamari in a cute way that really didn't fit the severe statement. Guy pumped a fist into the air at all of the youthful statements. Our flames of youth will explode all over Otogakure. What do you say, my old rival? Kakashi looked over the cover of a red book that was seen in the hands of women around the village. I'm sorry, Guy, I wasn't listening. Did you say something? While Guy groaned and raised a fist to Kakashi, Asuma asked, all right, Ruto, you know I'm in. Are Kurenai or Itachi coming? Shisui spoke up, nope. They are going to hold up in the village. Kurenai is too busy playing Hokage's assistant. Naruto coughed, alright guys. I wanted to get reacquainted with each of you. Tomorrow, we have CrossFit at 6 a.m. Advanced assessment test. After that, each of you will spar against my wood clones. Those that can't defeat a wood clone in 3 tries will go through remedial training. Kiba scoffed, oh, please, Naruto. I know you are strong, but we are more than enough to best a single clone. After CrossFit and 2 hours of sparring with a wood clone, Kiba laid on his back next to Shika and his face and body were bruised all over. Hinata walked over to Kiba and applied some much-needed healing to him. Kiba groaned. Holy Kami, how is it so hard to beat one wood clone? Hinata stifled a giggle, well, Kiba, wood clones have 20% of the strength of the original. Naruto is most likely the strongest ninja alive right now. Think of it that way. Hinata held back that the clones were not using Kurama's chakra or sage mode. At least, not in Kiba's case. Asuma flopped down next to his student, Shika, you are always right. He is a terribly troublesome blonde after all. Shikamaru shook his head and smirked at Asuma, I am always right. Were you able to beat your wood clone? Asuma groaned as he rolled over, I beat the original clone after 10 minutes. Then another one came, and it was in sage mode. I spent the last hour and a half getting my ass kicked by that one. I mean, how can a wood clone throw out more jutsu than I can? Ino giggled this time as she came over to assist Hinata. She applied some healing jutsu to Asuma and told him. Naruto's clones can absorb natural energy on the go. In terms of raw chakra, he eclipses our whole study group put together. You should have seen his fight against the Raikage. Shino came and flopped down next to the group with his bugs buzzing agitatedly. I had to fight against a clone using Kurama's chakra. Luckily, my battle beetles were able to hold out and absorb the chakra. Thankfully, Naruto didn't want to harm my hive. Hinata laughed at that, yeah, he loves your bugs. He calls them his precious experiments and, never mind. Hinata backed down at the sharp look from Ino. So, how did he punish you for eating his chakra? Taijutsu in a water bath, followed by a water prison, followed by a rinse cycle. Shino groaned. Ino stopped her healing and burst out in a full bout of laughter. A Naruto clone came over and deposited Kakashi, who was unconscious from chakra exhaustion. This guy used his Sharingan too much. I need to complete that seal for him. What seal? Shikamaru asked with interest. I imagine it like a chakra port. I just need to let him turn it on and off. Probably throw in a chakra reroute so that the excess chakra could be reabsorbed by the chakra system. The Naruto clone answered. Holy crap, do shithead and his butt-fucking copies all think like a fucking Nara? Tayuya asked, wincing while she took a seat in line for healing. The Naruto clone glared at Tayuya, what have we told you about gay insults? No more, Tayuya. No stand to for your punishment. Tayuya groaned and started running with the clone chasing her with a water whip. Her screeches and curses echoed all over the training ground as one water whip after another cracked against her admittedly toned ass cheeks. Fuck you. You fucking cunty shithead. You are a carpet munching, ass worshipping, ow. Fucker. Do you think she will ever learn that if she just shuts her mouth then the clone will stop? Choji asked as he pulled out a piece of beef jerky. Tamari walked up looking fresh after fighting successive clones for the last 2 hours. Did Naruto whoop all of you? The mirth in her tone was plain and obvious for all to see. She got a bunch of groans as an answer before the ground shook, and everyone looked over to see Naruto fighting against Tsunade. Holy shit. I mean, I train every flippin' day and I don't think I could ever do that. Ten groaned as she sat down next to the group. Ino put a comforting hand on her shoulder, and there is absolutely no shame in that. You can't use Senjutsu chakra and you don't have a Biju sealed in you. Think though, you have a higher level of Fuinjutsu than 99% of shinobi out there. Ten offered a weak smile as another quake hit the group. Yeah, think Naruto will test me and give me level 7. Just ask him and I am sure he will. Tamari said as she looked fondly at the ongoing spar. Shikamaru winced as Tsunade landed a punch that hurtled Naruto through 3 trees. His eyes widened as Tsunade jumped nearly 50 feet in the air and came down with an axe kick that sent a 500-foot fissure tearing through the training ground. Kami, they don't hold back on one another, do they? Hinata burst out in a fit of giggles, this is them holding back. To put it in perspective, they are probably fighting at 10-15%, if that. This comment earned dropped jaws from the group. After Naruto finished his fun spar with Tsunade, the two fixed the training ground with a couple of earth jutsu and Naruto regrew the tree line before they joined the group. He gave them all feedback and approved them all to tag along with the mission. He informed them that this would be the training routine for the next week. This earned moans and groans from the group, but he told them to suck it up. That night, Naruto joined Hinata for dinner at the Hyuga compound. The dinner went well, and Naruto got the chance to catch up with Hanabi before he asked for an audience with Hinata and Hiyashi. Not long after that, the three were in Hiyashi's office and Naruto opened the conversation. Hiyashi, I hope things have gone well for you since our departure. Hiyashi's placid face answered his opening statement. Yes, we have recovered and the support you provided was appreciated. Our Bowman Corps is now fully trained and equipped. The chakra arrow testing is a success, and we are developing that skill alongside our Juken. I have heard that Hinata has made Jonin, which I am grateful to you and Tsunade for. Naruto waved the praise off. No, that was Hinata's hard work. She earned it and she is an ally I can trust my back to. She beat a sage clone of mine earlier today. Hiyashi cocked an eyebrow, not knowing what that meant. To put it in perspective, a single sage clone demolished Kakashi Hatake for nearly 2 hours. Hiyashi's eyes widened slightly at this before he nodded in satisfaction. That is good to hear. Now, what can I help you with, Naruto? Naruto's face hardened and he met Hiyashi's look dead in the eye. Lord Hyuga, I request, on behalf of my brother Gaara, that you bless his relationship with Lady Hinata. Hiyashi's gaze hardened, and his lips turned down slightly. And why are you the one requesting this? Because I am the one you owe a favor to, and you know a small part of the truth about me. Hinata knows the whole truth. All I want is for my brother and a woman I cherish as a sister to be happy. He is in line to become the next Raikage and he is a good man. Naruto spoke with a firm resolve and never broke eye contact with Hiyashi. Hiyashi sighed and rubbed his eyes. Hinata, is it your wish to marry Subaku no Gaara? Yes, father. Hinata replied confidently. And how would this work? I have a bloodline to protect, and he is set to become the Kage of a foreign village. Hiyashi said wearily. Lord Hyuga, are you forgetting what we recently installed in the village? I encourage you to stop thinking along those traditional lines. The allies of the future will walk through each other's villages and there will be no borders in the future I see. If that is not enough, I will prepare a seal to make sure that Hinata's children cannot bear the Byakugan, which would be an absolute waste in my mind. The Subaku family carries the magnet release bloodline, and I could think of very few things more frightening on the battlefield than someone with a perfect defense and the ability to see through it. Naruto stood proudly next to Hinata and held her hand in his. This gave Hinata the courage to speak up. Father, Gaara is indeed a good man, and he will do anything for me. With the teleportation devices, we will be able to traverse freely between Suna and Konaha. Our children will also have dual citizenship. Think of it as a true branch of the Hyuga family since the two villages are full allies. Hiyashi sighed loudly now, his decorum fully gone. Fine, I will entertain talks with the Raikage and this boy. The rest will be clan business. Naruto, I trust that is acceptable. Naruto offered an understanding smile, definitely. I also prepared this, in case you weren't willing to listen to reason. Are you interested? Hiyashi cocked an eyebrow and did his best to contain his excitement. I am listening. Naruto offered a marriage agreement to one of his children, it didn't specify. I do not believe in forcing marriages through. I do believe in giving love a chance, and I hold love in my heart for your clan. This contract promises a 3-year engagement period between a Hyuga and one of my children. The marriage is contingent upon true love. There are clauses to ensure that the love is genuine with no outside encouragement from the two families. Hiyashi didn't even have to think about it. This was basically first dibs at a potential heir with the Mokuten. Very well, Naruto Senju. I accept this marriage agreement on behalf of the Hyuga clan. Daughter, I hope you find happiness with Subaku no Gaara. Naruto and Hinata had to wipe away their sweat drops at the quick turnaround, but then Hinata pulled a ring out of her pocket and put it on. Father, Gaara proposed to me shortly following Naruto's wedding. I told him I accept conditional upon your approval. Thank you, father, I will honor the Hyuga clan in all that I do. Hiyashi was growling lowly, then Naruto saw him look at the marriage agreement and it turned his scowl into a smile. Very well, please do that, daughter. Your sister will be a fitting clan head. I believe that concludes our business, Lord Senju. Naruto bowed and left Hiyashi's office with Hinata. He swung an arm over her shoulder and whispered, "Man, your dad is so predictable." Hinata giggled and leaned into Naruto. Did you really want to offer up one of your children? Naruto hip bumped Hinata. It is just a chance to court an official relationship for 3 years. If my kids find love, that is all the happiness I need. If they don't, then, oh well. Hinata closed her eyes and thanked Kami for such a good man as one of her best friends. You know, Ruto, I am glad you got this second chance. I couldn't imagine my life without you in it. Thank you for watching. Please remember to like and subscribe, and I'll catch you in the next part.